Bien, mes chers collègues, bonjour à toutes et à tous. Je vous souhaite la bienvenue à ce forum méditerranéen annuel de l'Assemblée parlementaire de l'OSCE. Cette année, ce forum se tient en principauté d'Andorre et je tiens à remercier chaleureusement nos hôtes andorrans pour cette hospitalité. Notre agenda est chargé, je tâcherai donc d'être bref. Depuis notre dernier forum méditerranéen de Skopje, qui s'est tenu l'année dernière, nous avons été nombreux à nous engager dans le travail avec nos partenaires de la Méditerranée et je tiens particulièrement à saluer l'action de mon compatriote et prédécesseur, Michel Voisin, pour le travail accompli dans ce domaine. Je voudrais particulièrement remercier aussi notre présidente, Mme Christine Muttonen, pour la confiance qu'elle a placée en moi en me nommant représentant spécial aux affaires méditerranéennes début juillet. Depuis ma nomination cet été, j'ai eu à cœur d'écouter nos partenaires afin de donner une orientation spécifique à notre action commune et je serai attentif à ce qui sera dit durant ce forum et suis à votre entière disposition pour des échanges après cette réunion. D'une manière générale, je souhaite soutenir votre engagement, notre engagement, celui des partenaires méditerranéens eux-mêmes dans les activités de notre Assemblée parlementaire de l'OSCE. Il y a parmi nous des habitués à nos formats de discussion et je salue leur assiduité, notamment celle de nos collègues algériens et marocains. Je tiens aussi à souhaiter la bienvenue aux représentants du Parlement égyptien. Votre engagement aujourd'hui est particulièrement apprécié et je salue aussi les représentants du Conseil national palestinien. Vous aurez peut-être remarqué que les 19 et 20 septembre derniers, je me suis rendu à Vienne afin d'y rencontrer tous les acteurs du partenariat méditerranéen côté gouvernemental de notre organisation. Et cette visite m'a permis de rassembler des informations, de me faire une idée assez complète de la relation que l'OSCE entretient avec la région méditerranéenne. Parmi les sujets que nous avons abordés figurent les menaces transnationales, évidemment, le développement économique aussi et le rôle des petites et moyennes entreprises, la migration, j'y reviendrai, la situation en Libye et les questions de connectivité, d'approvisionnement en nourriture, en eau et en énergie. Nous le voyons tous, la crise migratoire qui traverse l'Europe n'est pas terminée. Et pour y répondre, nous devons avoir des propositions concrètes, comme par exemple la création de centres internationaux de rétention à proximité de la zone syro-irakienne et de définir une liste européenne de pays d'origine sûrs pour lesquels le statut de réfugié ne sera pas accordé. On voit également actuellement émerger l'idée de traiter les demandes d'asile sur le sol africain. Tout ceci mérite d'être débattu. Je tiens à vous aviser de ma participation prochaine à la conférence de l'OSCE sur la Méditerranée qui se tiendra justement sur le thème de la migration. J'y informerai le côté gouvernemental de notre organisation de la teneur de nos travaux de ce matin car il me paraît fondamental d'accroître les contacts entre les différents organes de l'OSCE. En tant que représentant spécial aux affaires méditerranéennes, mais aussi, vous me le permettrez, en tant que Français, j'accorde une importance toute particulière à la dimension méditerranéenne de l'OSCE et au sujet qui est le nôtre aujourd'hui, promouvoir la sécurité et la coopération en Méditerranée. Je pense personnellement que là où certains voient un problème en Méditerranée, moi j'y vois la solution. Dans ce cadre, je souhaite aller plus loin et prendre peut-être le risque d'aborder de manière plus globale les situations de détresse qui continuent de préoccuper la communauté internationale, à savoir la Libye, Gaza, la Syrie et l'Irak. Chacun de ces conflits représente à lui seul une menace impérieuse pour la sécurité du bassin méditerranéen. Pris ensemble et à l'aune de l'instabilité qui a perduré tout au long de cet été, la situation devient quasiment intenable, tout d'abord pour les populations victimes de violences, bien sûr, mais aussi pour des pays qui se retrouvent pris dans la tenaille de ces tensions régionales. Je pense notamment à la Jordanie, au Liban ou à la Turquie, qui sont soumis à une pression migratoire étouffante. Le débat sur la lutte contre Daesh, autrement connu sous le nom trompeur d'État islamique, qui est d'ores et déjà actif au cœur de la région OSCE, comme nous l'ont tristement rappelé la série d'attentats meurtriers survenus notamment à quelques kilomètres d'ici, à Barcelone, est un débat que nous ne pouvons occulter. Et c'est pourquoi je serai heureux de prendre part au séminaire et à la visite organisée par nos collègues du Maroc dans 2 semaines, la propagation de l'extrémisme violent dans la région de l'OSCE, la stratégie adéquate aussi pour l'empêchement de l'attraction et le recrutement des jeunes par les organisations terroristes est un sujet brûlant et nos amis marocains vont nous faire profiter de leur expérience en la matière. Sans transition, je donnerai la parole dans un court moment aux participants en provenance des États partenaires méditerranéens de l'OSCE, ainsi qu'à nos distingués intervenants assis à mes côtés. Afin de faciliter, si vous le voulez bien, l'interprétation lors de ce forum, je demanderai à tous ceux d'entre vous qui ont l'intention de lire leur intervention d'en faire parvenir une copie au secrétariat afin qu'ils puissent le transmettre aux interprètes. Nous allons écouter nos distingués intervenants les uns après les autres et si vous avez des questions ou des commentaires à leur adresser, je vous invite à le faire dans le cadre du débat qui va suivre leur présentation et les remarques des partenaires. Et à cet effet, vous avez une liste qui est ouverte et je vous invite à signaler votre nom et votre pays auprès du personnel du secrétariat assis à mes côtés pour vous y inscrire. Et je souhaite à présent donner la parole à Mme Merichel Pamela Naoudi, présidente de la délégation d'Andorre auprès de l'Assemblée parlementaire de l'OSCE. Et j'en profite, Madame, pour vous renouveler mes remerciements pour votre hospitalité. Madame Naoudi, vous avez la parole.
Forum de la Méditerranée, Monsieur le Secrétaire général, Mesdames et Messieurs, c'est un honneur pour moi, chef de la délégation andorrane à l'Organisation de la sécurité et de la coopération en Europe des parlementaires, de vous accueillir en Andorre, au sein de cette 16e Assemblée parlementaire et en particulier à ce Forum de la Méditerranée. Vous êtes venus nombreux et nous nous en réjouissons. Promouvoir la sécurité et la coopération en Méditerranée, un débat à l'ordre du jour qui requiert d'une réflexion approfondie qui devrait aboutir à de véritables prises de décision et à des consensus pour faire face aux grands et nombreux défis que nous devons impérativement affronter. À ce propos, je n'en citerai que quelques-uns. L'arrivée de nombreux immigrants sans papier aux portes de nos frontières, la lutte contre le terrorisme et le crime organisé, les migrations induites par le changement climatique, entre bien d'autres qui viennent d'être cités par M. Pascal Alizard. Des défis qui, sans doute, vont puiser quelques réponses dans les conférences et les débats qui vont avoir lieu ce matin même et aussi au sein des 3 commissions au cours de ces 3 prochains jours en Andorre et auxquels je vous invite à y prendre part activement. Des réponses qui vont, je l'espère, exiger d'un aboutissement d'actions concrètes dans chacun de nos pays et une coopération entre nos pays voisins, si nous voulons parvenir à des résultats satisfaisants qui puissent garantir la convivialité entre les peuples et la paix dans le monde. Le temps presse et il en va de la responsabilité de chacun de nous, les femmes et les hommes politiques. D'autre part, je souhaite que ce séjour en Andorre soit plaisant pour vous, que vous pourrez partager travail et plaisir et découvrir quelques merveilles de notre pays. Goûter au plaisir de notre culture, de nos paysages, de notre gastronomie et bien sûr de notre shopping aussi. Et qui sait, peut-être une envie de se resservir. Je vous souhaite donc un travail productif et un agréable séjour en Andorre. Merci de votre attention et bienvenue.
Merci beaucoup, chers collègues. Et je donne maintenant la parole à Monsieur le ministre conseiller Luca Frattini, qui représente la présidence 2017 du groupe de contact de l'OSCE avec les partenaires méditerranéens pour la coopération. Et M. Frattini est également représentant permanent adjoint de l'Italie auprès de l'OSCE, Italie qui présidera l'organisation en 2018. M. Frattini, vous avez la parole.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le représentant spécial. J'interviendrai en italien. Ringrazio il signor Alisar per le sue parole di benvenuto e ringrazio anche le autorità di Andorra per averci qui riuniti in questa importante occasione. L'agenda di oggi del Forum Mediterraneo è sul promuovere la sicurezza e la cooperazione nel Mediterraneo, appunto. Come tutti sapete, il mio paese, il nostro, perché sono circondato da italiani, è stato nei primi tempi della CSCE, della conferenza, un grande sostenitore dell'idea di una CSCM, quindi di una conferenza per la sicurezza e la cooperazione nel Mediterraneo. Un concetto del genere oggi potrebbe sembrare irrealistico, però c'è una percezione diffusa dell'importanza della cooperazione attraverso il Mediterraneo necessaria per raggiungere la stabilità e la sicurezza in tutta la regione OSCE e anche al di là. Quest'anno l'Italia ha la grande responsabilità di presiedere il gruppo di contatto mediterraneo con i Paesi partner le cui delegazioni saluto. In questa veste abbiamo organizzato 6 attività principali per il 2017, alcune di queste hanno già avuto luogo, e in particolare ci siamo occupati di traffico di beni culturali, ci siamo occupati di cyber security, di energia e sicurezza, del ruolo delle donne per la pace e la sicurezza. La quinta riunione della nostra presidenza, Partenariato Mediterraneo, avrà avuto luogo il 25 settembre, quindi pochi giorni fa, e ci occupavamo in questo caso specifico all'Hofburg di Vienna di piccole e medie imprese e in particolare di start-up come motore dello sviluppo e della sicurezza nella regione OSCE. E molto fieramente abbiamo anche lanciato e finanziato un premio in denaro per premiare 6 migliori start-up, una per ogni paese partner mediterraneo, e questo premio ammonta a 15.000 euro per ciascuna delle imprese, proprio per coloro che hanno presentato il migliore esempio di innovazione nel quadro del partenariato mediterraneo OSCE. A novembre, ultimo seminario che faremo sulla cooperazione tra i think tank e i policy planners sul tema Mediterraneo per il futuro. Chiaramente, come il signor Alisar ha appena ricordato, una delle sfide principali per l'Italia quest'anno, in qualità di Presidente del gruppo di contatto, sarà quella di organizzare la conferenza mediterranea a Palermo dal 23 al 25 ottobre. Sono lieto di confermare la partecipazione di già oltre 20 ministri, sia dal nord che dal sud del Mediterraneo, e questo vi dice molto sulla attenzione politica che c'è a livello internazionale sulla tematica migratoria. Voglio precisare che noi non vediamo la migrazione soltanto da un punto di vista della sicurezza in senso stretto, ma anzi a Palermo intendiamo presentare gli aspetti positivi e benefici di una migrazione regolata che sicuramente possono contribuire a promuovere l'inclusione, il dialogo interculturale e il dialogo interreligioso. Questa dimensione mediterranea del nostro lavoro rimarrà molto alta nell'agenda anche per la nostra presidenza OSCE del 2018, dove tra l'altro abbiamo già iniziato perché da ieri, dal 2 di ottobre, l'Italia presiede per le questioni di bilancio e di amministrazione. L'Italia si impegnerà sin dal 1 gennaio, quindi dal giorno in cui smette di essere presidente del gruppo di contatto, a lavorare con la futura presidenza slovacca del gruppo di contatto mediterraneo per far di questa dimensione mediterranea una storia di successo nell'ambito del nostro lavoro a Vienna e altrove. Adesso in pochi minuti permettetemi di elencare alcune delle priorità invece della presidenza italiana dell'OSCE nel 2018 che sono state già delineate dal Ministro degli Esteri Alfano e prossimo Presidente in esercizio al Consiglio permanente all'OSCE a Vienna a luglio. In realtà la prima di queste priorità è ritornare al genuino spirito di Helsinki, lo spirito di cooperazione e di reciproca fiducia tra gli Stati partecipanti. Potrà suonare come uno slogan, ma vi posso assicurare che l'Italia lavorerà molto duramente per questo obiettivo. Questo lo devo dire con molta sincerità, senza agende o programmi nascosti. Noi saremo trasparenti e inclusivi durante tutto l'anno. Pensiamo che il dialogo sia il modo migliore per raggiungere gli obiettivi, gli alti obiettivi che l'OSCE si è posta nella sua creazione. Chiaramente progredire verso una soluzione pacifica alla crisi intorno all'Ucraina, nel rispetto della sua sovranità e la integrità territoriale, rispetto degli accordi di Minsk, il rafforzamento del ruolo della missione speciale di monitoraggio in linea con il suo ampio mandato, il sostegno degli sforzi negoziali nel formato Normandia e nel gruppo di contatto trilaterale, ma soprattutto la riduzione della sofferenza delle popolazioni nelle aree di conflitto in Ucraina e altrove. Ecco, queste sono attività che saranno al centro dei nostri sforzi. Sappiamo bene che le risorse a disposizione umane e finanziarie dell'OSCE sono limitate e quindi per questa ragione c'è bisogno di una collaborazione accresciuta non solo tra di noi, ma anche con altre organizzazioni internazionali e in primo luogo con le Nazioni Unite. In parallelo i cosiddetti conflitti protratti in Georgia, in Transnistria e nel Caucaso meridionale meritano la nostra piena attenzione. È importantissimo che non solo la Presidenza in esercizio, ma che tutti i 57 Stati partecipanti e tutte le istituzioni dell'OSCE sostengano i processi negoziali relativi, che sono le discussioni internazionali di Ginevra, il formato 5+2, il gruppo di Minsk e i suoi copresidenti. Noi lavoreremo anche a rafforzare la dimensione politico-militare dell'OSCE. Crediamo che l'esercizio di dialogo strutturato lanciato nel 2016 sia un ottimo strumento per ricostruire fiducia in questo terreno e per valutare insieme le possibilità di adattare i meccanismi esistenti alla notevole evoluzione tecnologica che c'è stata dagli anni 90 ad oggi. Sempre nella cosiddetta prima dimensione dell'OSCE, la sicurezza cibernetica a cui ho accennato prima merita anch'essa una menzione specifica. Siamo lieti che questo tema sia al centro anche di questa riunione dell'Assemblea parlamentare. Nel 2018 l'Italia si concentrerà sulla gioventù e sui partenariati tra pubblico e privato come potenziali fattori per una accresciuta cooperazione nel campo della cyber security, che come sappiamo può avere un impatto molto positivo anche sulla lotta all'estremismo violento e alla radicalizzazione. Le minacce transnazionali sono anche molto importanti nel nostro programma di presidenza. Il traffico di esseri umani, il traffico di droga, il traffico di beni culturali che anche finanzia in grande quantità purtroppo le organizzazioni criminali, sono tutte sfide che necessitano di una risposta condivisa. Mi permetto di ricordare in questo campo la grande competenza delle nostre forze militari e di polizia. Come esempio, l'Italia dal 6 al 10 novembre ospiterà presso la Scuola di Eccellenza Coespu dei Carabinieri a Vicenza, dal 6 al 10 novembre, un seminario sul traffico di opere d'arte, seminario che è aperto sia ai partner mediterranei che a rappresentanti degli Stati partecipanti. La cosiddetta seconda dimensione sulla sicurezza economica e ambientale è spesso considerata la sorella minore delle altre due in ambito OSCE, ma noi al contrario pensiamo che ogni progresso raggiunto in questi campi così importanti, che colpiscono profondamente le società, può effettivamente avere ricadute positive su altre aree di cooperazione, sempre nel pieno rispetto dei principi fondanti dell'OSCE. Nella terza dimensione, la dimensione umana, ho avuto il privilegio di partecipare a un'intensa settimana di lavori il mese scorso a Varsavia dello Human Dimension Implementation Meeting. Il dialogo franco e anche duro a volte tra governi e società civile è un elemento essenziale di questa organizzazione e deve essere preservato se vogliamo avere successo. I parlamenti possono essere molto importanti nel assicurare che un dialogo pacifico e sincero tra lo Stato e la società civile abbia luogo sia all'interno delle istituzioni OSCE preposte, ma anche all'interno dei rispettivi paesi. Alla fine di questa presentazione necessariamente breve, consentitemi e mi consenta, Presidente, di assicurarvi della serietà e del profondo senso di impegno che la Presidenza italiana dedicherà ai suoi alti incarichi a Vienna, a Roma o in ognuna delle presenze dell'OSCE sul terreno, che sono vitali anche loro per raggiungere gli obiettivi. Io sono fiducioso e conto sul fatto che tutti noi, parlamentari e diplomatici, negli Stati OSCE e negli Stati partner mediterranei ma anche asiatici, ci sosterrete per rendere la Presidenza italiana un successo. Vi ringrazio.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le ministre conseiller. Je donne maintenant la parole à Monsieur Pedro Roch, qui est le président de l'Assemblée parlementaire de la Méditerranée. L'Assemblée parlementaire de la Méditerranée est un partenaire important pour notre Assemblée et, cher monsieur, votre présence à nos côtés est aujourd'hui particulièrement appréciée. Monsieur Roch, vous avez la parole.
Madam President, Mr. Pascal Alizar, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, it is for me a great pleasure and honor to be here, and I would like to thank you, Honorable Christine Muttonen, for her kind invitation to address you today in this Mediterranean Forum. The Mediterranean has played traditionally a central role in human history. In its shores, humankind witnessed the rise of some of the most advanced civilizations since ancient times, not to mention the three world's most influential monotheistic religions. For those who are not familiar with the Parliamentary Assembly of the Mediterranean, I can briefly say that we have 30 members and associated states, and we enjoy the permanent observer status at the UN General Assembly. Our role is to promote parliamentary cooperation and to facilitate interaction with other international actors. We are a dedicated parliamentary forum of discussion and action on security-related issues, economic integration, and human rights with regional focus in the Mediterranean region. Our countries belong to three different continents, and some of them have no diplomatic relationships, while very different economic and socio-economic and cultural realities characterize the daily life of our citizens. Still, the degree of understanding and cooperation among us will represent a surprise for many of you. The multicultural composition of PAM reflects our way to approach and solve common problems. The situation in our region is very worrisome. Let's look, for example, the lack of progress in the negotiations between Israel and Palestine, or the military developments in Syria or Libya. One can feel a sense of frustration regarding the incapacity of the international community to act in a coherent way. One can feel also a growing sense of insecurity in our region that is fed by many terrorist attacks that continue to affect our cities and citizens. Nevertheless, on this issue, I would like to remember the words of the Italian Minister of Internal Affairs. In fact, Mr. Marco Minniti, just a few days ago, indicated that there is no direct link between migrations and terrorism. In fact, the real equation is between terrorism and the lack of integration as shown by evidence. PAM is currently focusing its efforts acting as a regional platform to ensure collaboration between the United Nations Security Council and our national parliaments in the field of counterterrorism, violent extremism and radicalization, cooperating also in the issue with the Interparliamentary Assembly of the Community of Independent States, promoting next November a common conference in St. Petersburg. But migration is the main issue on the Mediterranean. In the very recent years, the rate of people movements across its basin has increased exponentially, pushed by conflicts and political instability in the Middle East and North Africa region, as well as by poverty, unemployment, poor governance, and the lack of capacity in mitigating the consequences of the climate change in sub-Saharan Africa, particularly in the countries of the Sahel belt, not to mention the lasting terrorist activities carried out on that region by criminal groups as Boko Haram. Countries like Jordan, Lebanon, Greece, Italy, or Turkey are struggling to cope either with the influx of asylum seekers or economic migrants while maintaining their primary obligation to their own populations to provide services, jobs, and security. Just to give you an example, Jordan is burdening the cost of most of the humanitarian assistance provided to the Syrian refugees, who exceeded 1.5 million people and have reached 20% of the national population. Furthermore, only 1/3 of the international assistance pledged to Jordan has been received. Regarding the flows, there is, of course, a clear difference between refugees and economic migrants. While most refugees one day will eventually return to their homes, countries, the African exodus is a one-way ticket forced by poverty and starvation. From Africa, we are facing a structural problem. Specialized agencies indicated that the population of Africa, set as 1.3 billion people today, will reach by 2050 2.6 billion. Nigeria alone will reach 1 billion in 30 years. According to a recent study, every day in Africa, 33,000 young people arrive on an already saturated employment market. Only 40% of them will be lucky enough to find a job. Make no mistake, at this democratic rate, no development goals are sustainable. Paradoxically, at the same time, the 28 member states of the European Union are still incapable to agree on a much-needed common and coherent approach to manage the influx of migrants from Africa, hiding themselves behind the Dublin regulation. At their recent meeting in Estonia, the EU Home Affairs ministers acknowledged, and I quote, that the situation in the central Mediterranean Sea and the resulting pressure on Italy are causes for great concern for all member states. They also reached an agreement on using all available means to reduce migratory pressure in the Mediterranean, first and foremost by making greater efforts on Libya and in other third countries to prevent departures. This approach is similar to the solution already used to seal the Eastern Corridor, where Turkey operates as a EU buffer border and received 6 billion euros. The Libyan solution, discussed last August in Paris, where the political leadership of G4, Spain, France, Germany, and Italy met in with Niger, Chad, and Libya, was again highlighted in New York 2 years ago by many leaders speaking at the UN General Assembly. EU will offer development aid and generous funding to its African partners in return for stopping the migration flow. They seek improved land border controls and intensified patrolling of territorial waters of Libya, as well as development aid to create jobs in Africa. But in the meantime, because Italy is supporting alone the burden of the flow in the Central Corridor, they unilaterally and pragmatically, under a growing domestic pressure, started direct negotiations with the Libyan Authority, both in Tripoli and Tobruk, the tribes of the Libyan southern centers on the routes across the Sahara, and the command of the Coast Guard. Apparently, this approach system seems to work. In August and September, the influx of illegal migrants was drastically reduced by 68% compared to the early months of the year. However, these agreements are fragile. Last week, in parallel to the new armed clashes between Libyan militias from Sabratha and Tripoli, the exodus has restarted. And this time, it even includes young Libyans themselves. That is why it is so important to achieve stability in Libya in order to tackle the migrant flow. Also, in response to the concerns expressed by some NGOs to this announced European common strategy, the EU has indicated that, and I quote, "We will fund your presence in Libya so that you can oversee the migrant and refugee centers and so ensure the best humanitarian conditions." EU attempts to create a buffer zone south of the Sahara with the help of Niger and Chad. The proposed creation of hotspots, a kind of transition and screening camps in those countries, would further externalize the European southern borders, and organizations like the UN High Commission for Refugees and the International Organization for Migrants should be able to identify those entitled to refugee status and repatriate the economic migrants. At PEM, we have some pragmatic doubts on the sustainability of such approach in face of what's happening during the recent Syrian refugees crisis. That is why we ask, which And how many EU member states will volunteer to accept these asylum seekers? For the time being, this mass migration is both a structural exodus and a time bomb, but not only for Europe. Also Morocco, Algeria, and Egypt are now countries of destination. That is why PAM and the Pan-African Parliament have decided to work very closely to share experiences and strategies to tackle the phenomena in a consistent manner. Also, at the personal request of the President of the 72nd United Nations General Assembly, Honorable Miroslav Lajčák from Slovakia, PAM has committed to contribute to the drafting and negotiations of the UN Global Compact on Migration. To this end, we will organize in Valletta, Malta on 16 and 17 November, in cooperation with the IPU and the Maltese Parliament, an international conference to address mass population movements from Africa to Europe. We will so associate European and African key players. We know that you are organizing a conference with a similar focus in Palermo at the end of November. Accordingly, we would like to invite your Assembly to present its results in Malta and consolidate them with ours in support of the UN General Assembly work. Let me conclude by saying that regarding the Mediterranean, our Mare Nostrum, and its huge problems, all the synergies are important because we have common goals and the resources are limited. That's why we must foster the cooperation among our organizations. We must never forget that peace in the Mediterranean is always at the basis of global stability. Thank you for your attention.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. C'est à présent avec un plaisir non dissimulé que je vais donner la parole à Monsieur Mario Gomes, qui est conseiller diplomatique du secrétaire général de l'Union pour la Méditerranée. Je trouve leur travail admirable et je pense qu'ils sont amenés à jouer un rôle majeur dans la formulation d'une réponse aux défis que la région méditerranéenne doit relever. Monsieur Gomes, vous avez la parole.
Ouais, maintenant ça marche. I would like to start by thanking the Parliamentary Assembly of the OSCE for the invitation to participate in this very timely debate on this Mediterranean Forum that will put the focus on promoting security and cooperation in the Mediterranean. Traditionally, whenever we debated security and stability in the European context from a purely European perspective, we normally saw it as an East-West dichotomy, subjected to a Cold War mentality. This was actually the logic that was present at the launching of the CSCE, the precursor of today's OSCE. Curiously enough, and although its main goal was to focus on security in Europe, stricto sensus, the CSCE represented the first real change in paradigm, the first assumption that we cannot endeavor a real framework of common security and stability in Europe without taking into consideration the entire Mediterranean region. The final act of Helsinki remains today as valid as when it was approved in 1975, when it stated the interrelation between the security of each participant state and security in Europe as a whole, and the relationship that exists in a broader context of world security between security in Europe and security in the Mediterranean. If we want to have a serious debate on security in Europe, as recent evolutions have made it clear, we have to consider the Mediterranean region as an integral part of the security framework of the European continent. I believe this is a very important milestone that has to be established. The Mediterranean should not be seen as a mere component of European foreign policy, nor if our goal is to ensure peace, democracy, stability, security, and development in Europe and its vicinity. As you are aware, dialogue and cooperation between Europe, particularly the EEC and later the European Union and the Mediterranean countries, only started from the late 60s when European countries started to pay a closer attention to its southern neighborhood because of a number of events made them realize that many other tensions lie right at their doorstep and that Europe should find the right mechanisms to engage with its southern neighbors, not only to prevent conflicts in its neighborhood, but also to guarantee that Europe itself would not get caught with them. And how did Europe engage? By a series of bilateral trade and cooperation agreements. This was the way that Europe had at the time to engage with these countries, with the TMCs, which, by the way, Portugal was part of the third Mediterranean countries at the time. Efforts proceeded, particularly with the establishment of the Barcelona process in 1995. This was a major impulse in the relationship between Europe and its neighbors. And even though we can now look back and criticize it as a naive and over-ambitious exercise, the truth is that Barcelona and its Euro-Mediterranean partnership were probably the most comprehensive and forward-looking foreign policy initiative that the European Union has ever had. Unfortunately, as we all know, it did not evolve the way that we all desired, and the establishment of a Euro-Med policy by the European Union was far from being an effective contribution to the necessary social, political, and economic reform that the Mediterranean region needed. Furthermore, the crisis in the Balkans, the world post 9/11, and the enlargement processes towards Central and Eastern Europe recentered the focus of the EU, contributed to a feeling of disenchantment regarding the Euro-Mediterranean process, and emptied the Euro-Med partnership to a mere rhetoric process of good intentions. Throughout most of the 90s and 2000s, quite frankly, Europe was too busy to care, and the Mediterranean countries were not that interested in the cooperation that the EU, through Euro-Med, was offering them. So once again, we had to start over. But fortunately, this time, I believe we did it right. The way I see it, things started changing in 2002. By the time Europe once again realized that its common foreign and security policy was not effective, not even in its immediate vicinity. And that's why President of the Commission, Romano Prodi, commissioned a high-level advisory group co-led by Assia Louis Ben Salah from Morocco and Jean Daniel from France, Algeria, a number of concrete operational proposals for the Euro-Mediterranean area to promote a neighborhood policy intended to create, and I quote, a zone of prosperity and a friendly neighborhood, a ring of friends with whom the European Union enjoys close, peaceful, and cooperation relations. I believe this report was really important. First of all, because it identified this idea of ring of friends. And secondly, because it identified two interlocking and increasingly menacing risks. The first one, that of domination by the North on its relations with the South. And second, the one that today we are facing, an alternative that sees itself as revolutionary, inspired by cultures or forms of civilization that are alienated, deformed, reduced to pure ideologies. And today we can identify it quite clearly in Daesh and other movements as such. The most important than the proposals, which are really important, I think the most relevant idea was that of an equalitarian participation of North and South, of joint definition of priorities and joint setting of common agendas, of co-ownership of regional policies and cooperation strategies. So when the UFM, the Union for the Mediterranean, saw the day in 2008, these were the principles that were christened in our founding statutes. Please take into account that the UFM is a quite recent institution. And although we realize that many of the problems and challenges that we face demand for immediate actions and immediate results, we have to be realistic in the establishment of our goals. The UFM is structured around three pillars, what we call our 3 Ps. First, the political pillar, structured around the meeting of ambassadors every 3 months and ministerials on different fields. Since 2012, we had 15 ministerial meetings, 4 of which this year alone. Foreign Affairs in Barcelona, Research and Innovation and Water in Malta, and Sustainable Urban Development in Cairo. And we are now working on a new ministerial on women's empowerment that will occur in Cairo in November. These meetings are important to approve the principles and priorities for cooperation on the different fields, and increasingly because ministers are approving comprehensive strategies and common agendas, binding to all 43 countries. And those agendas lead us to the second P, that of the platforms for regional dialogue. The Secretariat organizes a growing number of dialogues that we put together not only experts from the different sectoral ministries of our member states, but also expert institutions, international organizations, business associations and private companies, universities and academia, NGOs and civil society organizations, international financial institutions, and whomever we believe will help us move the debate forward, and especially that can help us identify or build up projects of development cooperation that can promote the implementation of the priorities defined at the political level. And this takes us to the third P, the projects. The 47 projects that we have labeled, projects to which the 43 member states recognize the regional interest, guaranteed their support to its implementation, and mandated the Secretariat to support it technically and help it obtain the necessary financial means for its implementation and/or replication. Although the results may still be considered modest, we are actually quite pleased with the results that we can present. We're pleased with the number of ministerial meetings and particularly with its growing contents, with the density and relevance of the platforms of regional dialogue in a growing number of fields, from transport to blue economy, from women to mobility in education, and with the growing number of beneficiaries of the projects we support, some of which will be pivotal for the development of our common region, like the Eastern Mediterranean International School, a project in Israel where Israeli and Palestinian children learn how to live, interact, and grow together. Or the Euro-Mediterranean University of Fez in Morocco, the first truly regional campus that will host more than 6,000 students from across the Mediterranean. Or the desalination plant in Gaza that will benefit more than 2 million people that have no access to drinkable water. Or the Trans-Maghreb motorway that will be ready in 2021. For instance, if you Google map your way from Agadir in Morocco to the Libyan border, you will be surprised that it will suggest you to cross the strait in Gibraltar and go across Spain and then come back and enter through Algeria. So by the time we have this highway ready from Agadir to Libya, we will be increasing mobility, we will be increasing trade, we will be increasing regional integration, and this is our main goal. A final word on where we stand and how we see ourselves in this debate on security and stability. The UFM was mandated to work on business development, on social issues, on education, energy, water, and transports. But as all these new challenges were evolving in our region, we could not remain limited to that. No one would understand that we would have a platform for political dialogue with 43 members, all of the EU and all of the countries bordering the Mediterranean. And so no one would understand that we would ignore the new challenges that we are confronted with, namely the questions of migration and refugees, intercultural and interreligious dialogue, or countering violent extremism and terrorism. That's why we launched an internal debate within the UFM to work on a roadmap for strengthening cooperation that would adapt the UFM to this new reality and mandate its secretariat to this new thematic. This roadmap was finally adopted, endorsed by Ministers of Foreign Affairs in January 2017 during their meeting at the second UFM Regional Forum, a meeting that we want to be annual and that will bring together the main stakeholders and partners of the UFM in its development cooperation strategies. We understand our mandate as a common effort to address regionally the regional challenges that the Mediterranean region faces. collectively, under the core principles of co-ownership and shared responsibilities, so we can overcome the limitations of a traditional North-South Euromed cooperation. The UFM is not an instrument for European cooperation with its southern neighborhood. It's a regional instrument co-chaired both by the EU and the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan, where 43 member states define together their common priorities for cooperation. Don't get me wrong, we don't ignore the special importance and the special responsibility of the EU in the success of this institution. But it can only be successful if it is seen and it acts as a truly independent mechanism for dialogue and cooperation. The way we see it, this is the right path. For it to be successful, we must count with the support not only of our governments, but also from a number of different actors, from UN agencies to NGOs, international institutions and private sector actors, think tanks and universities. We can be the platform to accelerate and expand all their efforts of cooperation in the Mediterranean region. Parliamentarians hold a special responsibility in the promotion of security and cooperation in the Mediterranean. As elected representatives of our peoples, you are the first to understand the importance of working for the improvement of their well-being, for the promotion of their aspirations and goals, to guarantee that we offer them education that teaches the values of an egalitarian and tolerant society and promotes their smooth transition to the work market, that we work on better economic perspectives by reinforcing regional integration and supporting business development, that we implement environmental and climate change mitigation policies that can improve their life conditions. That's why we're building on our cooperation with the Parliamentary Assembly of the UFM, where members of our national parliaments and the European Parliament participate in a number of debates in different committees about development in the Mediterranean. That's why we signed a Memorandum of Understanding with the Parliamentary Assembly of the Mediterranean, with whom we wish to strengthen our ties, as I've had the opportunity to convey to my dear friend Pedro Roque. That's why we've been participating in events organized by the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe, an institution with whom we're working on important thematics like democracy or intercultural dialogue, namely through the relevant work developed by the North-South Center of the Council of Europe. And that is why, at the time where we're opening new avenues for cooperation with the OSCE, and some in very important and specific fields like energy security, environment, or climate change, we are very pleased to also have the opportunity to engage with the parliamentarians, members of the Parliamentary Assembly of the OSCE. We count on your support, proposals, and advices, and your criticism every time you consider it necessary, because we are sure that it will help us in the promotion of the core objectives that we are given by the declaration of the Paris Summit in 2008 to transform the Mediterranean into an area of peace, democracy, cooperation, and prosperity. Thank you very much.
Merci, Monsieur le conseiller diplomatique. Je vais maintenant donner la parole à nos partenaires. Et, chers collègues, vous aurez chacun entre 7 et 10 minutes pour vous exprimer. Et le premier à intervenir sera mon collègue représentant de l'Algérie. Vous avez la parole.
Monsieur le Président, Mesdames, Messieurs, le panorama que nous offre la situation politique et sécuritaire dans la périphérie méridionale de l'espace OSCE n'est pas rassurant. Des événements inquiétants s'y déroulent. Les ruines s'amoncellent. Un désordre généralisé s'installe dans certains pays où la guerre fait rage, tandis qu'en Palestine, la souffrance devient chronique et que l'insécurité s'établit au Sahel. Les conséquences d'une telle situation sont terribles au plan moral, au plan des valeurs, au plan de la confiance, ainsi qu'au plan politique et économique. Et que dire de l'aspect humain, avec des centaines de milliers de personnes déracinées, poussées sur les routes de l'exil forcé, très souvent au péril de leur vie. La Méditerranée est devenue depuis quelques années une fosse commune pour des milliers de migrants, hommes, femmes et enfants. Tout cela à un moment de l'histoire où l'humanité est plus prospère, plus inventive, plus instruite, plus éclairée, plus ouverte qu'elle ne l'a jamais été au cours de son évolution. Le panorama que nous embrassons ainsi du regard est celui d'un berceau de la civilisation humaine qui ressemble désormais à un bateau à la dérive, ayant égaré une grande partie de ses instruments de pilotage et qui se trouve au bord du naufrage. L'onde du choc provoquée par les confrontations de nature multiples s'étend à travers le terrorisme qui tend à devenir, pour des individus fanatisés par le désespoir, l'ultime avatar de la politique. Quelles que soient les causes auxquelles un tel marasme peut être imputé, une réalité amère est bel et bien là sous nos yeux. C'est celle d'une culture de la violence qui est en cours d'enracinement à la périphérie sud de l'espace OSCE. Ce phénomène est aggravé par l'impasse du processus de paix entre Israéliens et Palestiniens. Il est aggravé aussi par l'ingérence étrangère dans les affaires intérieures de certains pays. En bref, c'est dans ce contexte gorgé de périls pour la paix et la sécurité commune que se tient ce forum méditerranéen. Mesdames, Messieurs, en sa qualité de partenaire honoré de participer à cette rencontre, la délégation algérienne sait mon devoir de dire que si la vocation de l'OSCE est effectivement de préserver la paix et de développer la coopération en priorité dans son propre espace, comme le stipule son acte fondateur, force est de constater aujourd'hui que la problématique a beaucoup changé, car le destin du monde ne semble plus se jouer uniquement au centre, comme au temps de la guerre froide, mais aussi à la périphérie, et notamment en Méditerranée, où l'embrasement fait rage et menace de se généraliser. Alors que faire pour être en prise avec cette réalité très complexe et éviter à notre région, et peut-être aussi au monde, l'irréparable? À cet égard, l'expérience algérienne me paraît digne d'intérêt parce que riche d'enseignements utiles. Aussi, permettez-moi de rappeler brièvement comment on peut mener avec détermination une action sur 5 fronts. Le premier front est celui de la lutte antiterroriste et de la déradicalisation, et ce, à travers une politique exemplaire de concorde civile et de réconciliation nationale qui a débouché sur la paix. En parallèle, une politique dédiée à la solidarité, la justice sociale et le développement humain a été conduite. Elle a permis à l'Algérie d'être classée aujourd'hui à la première place dans le palmarès du PNUD au niveau nord-africain. Le second front est le front économique, à travers des réformes visant à libérer et à impulser l'investissement et le commerce, à diversifier l'économie et à promouvoir l'entrepreneuriat. Le troisième front concerne les réformes politiques qui ont été couronnées en 2016 par l'amendement de la Constitution. Cette Constitution trace très nettement les contours d'une conception de l'État fondée sur le droit. Le droit voit ainsi sa légitimité se renforcer en tant que moyen d'encadrement de l'action publique. Le quatrième front est celui des droits de l'homme, avec l'inclusion dans la Constitution du Conseil national des droits de l'homme, ce qui met l'Algérie en conformité aux principes de Paris en la matière. De même, la parité homme-femme a connu une forte impulsion dans les assemblées élues en particulier, avec 31% de femmes aux dernières élections législatives, alors que le taux n'était que de 7% en 2007. Enfin, le cinquième front concerne la paix régionale, avec les efforts soutenus déployés en Libye et au Mali en particulier, en faveur du dialogue entre les parties en conflit afin d'aboutir à des solutions politiques. Bref, cette expérience, l'Algérie est disposée à la mettre au service de ses partenaires, en ce qui concerne notamment la lutte antiterroriste. L'Algérie est également disposée à contribuer à un débat constructif autour de la nécessité avérée d'adapter la vision et de redéfinir une conception de la paix et de la sécurité qui soit en prise avec les réalités du pourtour méditerranéen. Un tel débat peut s'articuler sur quelques questions lancinantes qui ne semblent pas encore avoir retenu suffisamment l'attention. Des questions parmi d'autres déjà évoquées par les orateurs qui m'ont précédé. Première question. À quoi aura servi la victoire de la liberté politique et de la liberté économique du XXe siècle si le XXIe siècle s'ouvre sur un dérèglement grandissant dans notre région, aussi bien que du reste du monde? Seconde question. Ne faudrait-il pas faire l'effort de mieux comprendre ce qui se passe sur la rive sud de la Méditerranée ainsi qu'au Proche et Moyen-Orient pour porter un pronostic fiable sur l'avenir et agir en conséquence en faveur de la paix, de la sécurité et de la justice pour tous. Troisième question. Est-il possible de renforcer la confiance mutuelle et la coopération pour la paix régionale et mondiale, ainsi que pour la sécurité et la prospérité, au moment où la tentation du repli sur soi et du nationalisme plane dans certains pays, pas des moindres? Quatrième question. Pourquoi la Méditerranée a-t-elle plus ou moins disparu des radars politiques, diplomatiques et médiatiques à l'échelle des grands pays? Comment trouver un juste équilibre entre les calculs géopolitiques et le respect du droit international? Comment redonner plus de crédit auprès de ceux qui souffrent, en Palestine notamment, aux principes produits par votre philosophie politique au siècle des Lumières et dont l'Occident prône aujourd'hui l'adoption par tous les pays du monde? Et enfin, quelle portée et quelle efficacité pour la Méditerranée pourrait avoir la réflexion et la résolution de cette auguste Assemblée sans une amélioration du statut des partenaires méditerranéens au sein de l'OSCE? Pour terminer, permettez-moi, Monsieur le Président, d'avoir une pensée amicale pour M. Michel Voisin, l'ancien président de notre forum, et de vous adresser à vous, M. Paul Alizard, mes sincères vœux de succès ainsi que mes félicitations en tant que représentant spécial pour les affaires méditerranéennes de l'Assemblée parlementaire de l'OSCE et de vous dire que vous pouvez compter sur notre entière collaboration. Je vous remercie pour votre aimable attention.
Merci beaucoup, chers collègues. Nous avons déjà beaucoup échangé ensemble et je sais qu'on peut travailler avec vous. Je vais maintenant donner notre collègue représentant de l'Égypte. Qui intervient pour l'Égypte? Bon, pas d'intervention de l'Égypte. Donc, je donne la parole à notre collègue représentant le Maroc. Ils sont là? Pardon. Bon. Le collègue marocain. Les représentants du Conseil national palestinien. Ah, il y a un collègue marocain, pardon, qui s'approche. Oui. Voilà, ben on va laisser le collègue marocain. Bonjour. Il va arriver la dame qui va présenter la... D'accord, elle n'est pas arrivée encore. Eh bien, on va demander à notre collègue palestinien d'intervenir et ensuite ce sera notre collègue marocain. Voilà. Bienvenue. Voilà, vous avez la parole, cher collègue.
Señor Presidente, estimados y estimadas parlamentarios, señoras y señores, Palestina agradece vuestra invitación a participar en este importante foro. Nosotros, un pueblo que aún lucha por su libertad en pleno siglo XXI, tenemos mucho que aportar a la agenda regional y global de seguridad, como una nación comprometida con el derecho internacional, los tratados internacionales y las resoluciones de las Naciones Unidas. Hace pocos días, Palestina fue admitida como miembro pleno en Interpol. Ello no solo reafirma el compromiso de la mayoría de los miembros de la comunidad internacional con el reconocimiento pleno de Palestina como Estado, sino que también muestra aprecio al desarrollo institucional palestino. Pero, por otro lado, también muestra un claro compromiso por parte nuestra como nación con el Estado de Derecho y la justicia. El ingreso a Interpol es uno de los pasos que hemos dado en esa dirección. Palestina, un miembro pleno en la coalición contra Daesh, es un importante referente en materia de seguridad en la región. De la misma forma que contribuimos a los esfuerzos regionales, dejamos en claro que sin terminar con la prolongada ocupación israelí de Palestina y su ilegal colonización de nuestro país, incluyendo Jerusalén, capital eterna de nuestro pueblo, ha de ser imposible lograr tan deseada estabilidad regional. Señor presidente, señoras y señores, la actitud arrogante y militarista de Israel, la potencia ocupante, es un factor desestabilizador en nuestra zona. Su cultura de impunidad le permite violar sistemáticamente sus obligaciones internacionales, dando un mensaje de desesperanza a la calle árabe en general y en particular al pueblo palestino. El gobierno israelí, apoyado por su Parlamento, continúa impulsando el desarrollo de una agenda legislativa racista que busca consolidar la ocupación y la discriminación sistemática en contra del pueblo palestino, cristianos y musulmanes. Más que la paz, cooperación regional y seguridad. Esas leyes van desde la destrucción de familias palestinas a través de la ley de la ciudadanía, donde se niega la reunificación de miles de familias palestinas por el mero hecho de no ser judíos, hasta las discusiones de buscar cómo anexionar más territorio ocupado, un crimen de guerra bajo el Estatuto de Roma de la Corte Penal Internacional y la Cuarta Convención de Ginebra. El primer ministro israelí ha anunciado hasta el cansancio, la última vez solo hace una semana, que no removerá ninguna colonia ilegal desde el territorio palestino ocupado y, por ende, no habrá ningún Estado palestino. La reacción internacional ha sido el silencio. El problema, señor presidente, no es solo que el señor Netanyahu y su gobierno fundamentalista sionista dicen, sino que principalmente lo que hacen sobre el terreno. Ello ha llevado a otro grave problema de seguridad, como es el desarrollo de redes terroristas de colonos extremistas sionistas que continúan atacando diariamente a la población civil palestina bajo la mayor impunidad posible. Solo entre 2009 y 2017, 53 iglesias y mezquitas han sido atacadas por terroristas israelíes, con solo 9 acusaciones formales procesados por los tribunales de la potencia ocupante. Los terroristas que queman vivos a palestinos, como el caso de la familia de OSCE, hoy se encuentran libres. Pueden ingresar sin necesidad de visado alguno a todo el espacio Schengen. Creemos que el problema de esos grupos terroristas y sus redes de financiamiento deben ser tomados con mayor seriedad por parte de la comunidad internacional, en particular Europa. Señor presidente, nosotros estamos dando los pasos necesarios para poder restaurar el legítimo control palestino sobre la Franja de Gaza a través de la unidad nacional, basado en los compromisos asumidos por la Organización para la Liberación de Palestina, único y legítimo representante de nuestro pueblo. Esperamos pronto poder normalizar la situación para acabar con la ilegalidad bloqueo israelí contra la Franja de Gaza. Al mismo tiempo que agradecemos todos los esfuerzos encabezados por Egipto. Este proceso debe llevar a fijar una fecha para las elecciones legislativas y presidenciales para todos los palestinos y palestinas, donde quiera que estén, en la patria o en el exilio, donde podrán participar. Al concluir, me gustaría poder mencionar dos elementos importantes para nuestra agenda regional. Por un lado, la situación de 500 000 de palestinos refugiados en Siria, con miles de ellos intentando escapar hacia Europa simplemente porque su derecho a retornar a su patria sigue siendo negado por parte de Israel. Por otro lado, me gustaría mencionar la dramática situación de 7.000 presos políticos palestinos en cárceles de la ocupación israelí, incluyendo parlamentarios, entre ellos Marwan el-Barghouthi, Ahmad Saadat y otros, además de centenares de presos detenidos sin ningún cargo en su contra o detenidos de conciencia. Las cortes de la ocupación israelí declaran a los presos palestinos culpables en más del 94,74% de los casos. Con alrededor de 1 millón de palestinos, que hemos pasado por las cárceles durante los 50 años de ocupación. El caso de los prisioneros políticos palestinos refleja la impunidad con que se ha permitido actuar Israel. Señor presidente, permítanme concluir expresando un mensaje de esperanza, independiente de que el gobierno de la potencia ocupante israelí se esmere en destruir la posibilidad de la creación de un Estado palestino soberano e independiente sobre las fronteras de 1967, en concordancia con la legalidad internacional. La libertad y el fin de la ocupación son un proceso natural que el pueblo palestino y el resto del mundo podrán celebrar, ya que sea dos estados sobre la frontera de 1967 o en un solo estado con igualdad de derechos para judíos, cristianos y musulmanes en toda Palestina histórica. El sistema de apartheid que amenaza la seguridad regional no podrá continuar. No ayudemos a dilatar el fin de la ocupación y el apartheid. Palestina está comprometido con el derecho internacional y sus mecanismos de acción por el bienestar, seguridad y justicia de sus miembros, incluida la Corte Penal Internacional. El momento para actuar es ahora. Y antes de darles las gracias, me gustaría añadir una cuestión, que la próxima vez los delegados palestinos encuentren en esta pared su bandera nacional. Muchas gracias a ustedes.
Merci, chers collègues, pour votre intervention dont la force démontre, si besoin était, le travail que nous avons encore à faire ensemble. Est-ce que notre collègue du Maroc est arrivé? Et auquel cas, je me ferai un plaisir de lui donner la parole. Bien, alors, voilà. Si, oui. Oui, oui. Alors, voilà, la parole est... est à la délégation marocaine. Voilà, chers collègues, vous avez la parole.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Excellences, honorables invités, Mesdames et Messieurs, les défis qui nous desserrent, qui se dressent devant nous sont aussi nombreux que vitaux. Appréhender les relations entre les deux rives de la Méditerranée ne peut se faire qu'à l'une d'une lecture réaliste de ces paramètres nouveaux auxquels nous avons affaire et qui nécessitent une réponse commune et une solidarité de tous les instants. Le drame migratoire qui a transformé la mer qui sépare les deux continents en un cimetière qui engloutit tant les rêves de ceux qui l'empruntent, qui nous rappelle cette nécessité. Une coopération saine devra mettre l'humain au cœur de son action. Le Maroc devenu terre d'accueil, après avoir longtemps été un pays de transit, a mis en place une politique volontariste pour l'accueil et la protection des migrants, ce qui en fait un acteur incontournable de la gestion des flux migratoires vers l'Europe. Aussi, le défi sécuritaire est plus que jamais un enjeu d'importance pour la stabilité de notre région. Les foyers d'instabilité et les États en faillite ont un coût. Nos économies et nos peuples en sont les principales victimes. C'est pourquoi il nous est nécessaire de renforcer notre coopération dans le domaine sécuritaire et en va notre stabilité et donc de notre survie. La situation dans le Maghreb passe par une conjoncture difficile due à l'absence de la coordination politique, la faiblesse de l'intégration économique et la fragilité de la coopération sécuritaire, avec en toile de fond d'exacerbation de la crise libyenne et l'intensification des menaces sécuritaires. Il faut attirer l'attention sur la situation humanitaire dramatique s'étant développée récemment dans les pays de la Méditerranée concernant la migration économique et l'asile. Le défi à relever est de faire face aux enjeux de sécurité et de stabilité. Malheureusement, ces mouvements de milliers de personnes fuyant de très graves situations économiques et sociales et conflits armés dans leur pays continueront d'avoir lieu et prendront même de l'ampleur dans les prochaines années. Pour traiter de manière adéquate les problèmes liés à ces mouvements migratoires, nous considérons que des politiques multilatérales sont nécessaires. Nous croyons en conséquence que les organisations internationales ayant une forte présence dans cette région, comme l'OSCE, l'Union européenne et l'Union africaine, parmi d'autres, devraient adopter des politiques spécifiques, ne traitant pas seulement sur le court terme le problème humanitaire causé par cette situation, mais aussi trouver des solutions pour les pays d'où les mouvements viennent à travers la coopération pour le développement. Le Maroc s'est engagé durant les deux dernières décennies à faire de la coopération sud-sud un des piliers majeurs de sa politique étrangère, étant donné que cette coopération constitue un axe essentiel de la coopération internationale et un levier fondamental du développement durable, de la paix et de la sécurité dans le continent. Et d'ailleurs, elle continuera d'assurer des responsabilités au sein des organisations internationales en tant que partenaire engagé, dynamique et actif, qui n'a jamais rien épargné au service de la paix et de la sécurité, mais qui a toujours défendu ses causes et préoccupations au sein des organisations et forums internationaux et régionaux en veillant à servir des intérêts et réaliser des ambitions et objectifs. La présence des royaumes au sein de l'Union africaine et d'un certain nombre de groupements régionaux est un gage d'ouverture commun et une présence qui permet de renforcer les relations entre le Nord et le Sud pour plus de stabilité, de sécurité et de croissance au profit des peuples de la région. Il est à signaler que le Maroc et les Pays-Bas ont été reconduits à la présence du Forum mondial de lutte contre le terrorisme pour un nouveau mandat de 2 ans, à l'occasion de la 8e réunion ministérielle de cette instance qui s'est tenue mercredi 20 septembre 2017 à New York. La plébiscite pour reconduire le Maroc à la tête de cette instance est un témoignage éloquent de la confiance que la communauté internationale porte à l'approche marocaine développée conformément aux hautes orientations de Sa Majesté le Roi pour lutter contre le terrorisme. Une reconnaissance de la contribution précieuse et souvent décisive au Maroc dans la lutte antiterroriste. Le GCTF, comme vous le savez, est une plateforme informelle, apolitique et multilatérale ayant pour vocation d'identifier les besoins critiques en matière de lutte civile contre le terrorisme, de mobiliser les connaissances et ressources nécessaires au soutien, de renforcement des capacités et d'améliorer la coopération mondiale dans le domaine de la lutte contre ce fléau. En exprimant le souhait que cette rencontre soit suivie par d'autres manifestations du genre, j'espère que nos travaux soient couronnés de succès, notre objectif étant de permettre l'éclosion d'un espace méditerranéen représentant un lac de paix, d'entente et de liberté. Merci pour votre écoute.
Bien, merci, chers collègues, pour votre intervention. On va donc maintenant donner la parole aux intervenants de la salle qui l'ont demandé. Et le premier intervenant, c'est M. Kafkalias de Chypre, et ce sera ensuite Mme Fry du Canada. Chers collègues chypriotes, vous avez la parole.
Thank you again. Firstly, I wish to express the sincere appreciation of the Cyprus delegation to the Parliament of Andorra for their kind invitation and warm hospitality. Dear colleagues, the hidden war rhetoric in the light of North Korea's advancing nuclear weapons program warns of the disastrous consequences of an overall militarized war and the lack of leadership unconditionally committed to universal principles, world peace and security. This alarming reality is strongly reflected in the Eastern Mediterranean region, a region which mirrors global security threats across the board, from proxy wars, terrorism, and organized crime to poverty, inequality, climate change, distress, and the use of natural resources as a tool of tension. A region which has been witnessing the rule of might is right, double standards, and flagrant violations of international law. Regarding Cyprus and the Cyprus problem, regrettably, a breakthrough has not been achieved in the latest round of negotiations between the leaders of the Greek Cypriot and the Turkish Cypriot communities under the aegis of the UN Secretary General, with the participation of Greece, Turkey, and the United Kingdom as the guarantor powers and the EU as an observer. Regrettably, Turkey insists on maintaining occupation troops on the territory of Cyprus, its anachronistic guarantor status, and what it interprets as its unilateral intervention right. Moreover, Turkey has escalated its violations of the airspace and the exclusive economic zone of the Republic of Cyprus, challenging Cyprus' sovereignty and internationally recognized right to explore and exploit its energy resources in line with international law. We appeal once again to Turkey to abandon its expansionist aims against Cyprus and to allow Greek Cypriots and Turkish Cypriots to peacefully live together in their common homeland. Efforts must be pursued towards achieving a just and viable settlement with the framework set by the UN Secretary General in accordance with international law and pertinent UN resolutions. A settlement that will meet the security concerns and will ensure respect of the human rights of all Cypriots. Dear colleagues, the chaotic situation prevailing in the Middle East and its spilling over worldwide call for collective responsibility. It is no secret that wars and their consequences are highly profitable. Arms exports of billions of dollars worth to Middle East and Africa countries make the goal of peace look even more remote. Highly lucrative businesses are thriving in the reconstruction sector of the war-devastated areas. Also impressive are the huge amounts of money spent in contracts and consultancy in order to prevent illegal migration. Achieving peace and stability in Syria, Iraq, Libya, and elsewhere, which will end bloodshed and the unspeakable suffering of refugees, is a matter of our collective conscience. Making all possible efforts for the resumption of talks towards the settlement of the Middle East conflict in accordance with international law and pertinent agreements is central to the goal of peace in the Eastern Mediterranean region. Unity and solidarity must prevail and must primarily focus on the root causes of the refugee and migration crisis. The only viable way ahead is pursuing policies which will lead to economic and social development of all countries by bridging inequalities and by means of man-centered policies towards a fairer world. Certainly, the OSCE has a greater political role to play regarding this region, also by significantly contributing to the goal of establishing a weapons of mass destruction-free zone in the Middle East and to the resumption of the UN conference with the participation of all regional players. The role of parliamentary diplomacy is central in this respect, in the context of its Mediterranean Forum, which must be substantially upgraded, and through the ad hoc Committee on Migration and the Special Representative on the Mediterranean, the OSCE Parliamentary Assembly must look to its greater outreach to Mediterranean partners, thus adding substantial value to the OSCE's Mediterranean dimension and to the peace efforts in this highly significant region. Thank you very much.
Merci, cher collègue. Madame Frey, vous avez la parole. Et le prochain intervenant, ce sera Monsieur Dubs du Royaume-Uni. Madame Frey.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I want to first and foremost thank Andorra for their welcome. It's a beautiful place, and I'm really glad and hope to get to see a little bit of it. But I also want, before I speak to this issue, to congratulate the German delegation on the anniversary of German reunification today. I must say that I learned a lot from the speakers this morning. I think most of you honed in on what seems to me to be almost a hopeless situation, but we know it isn't. When you look at conflict, you look at the fact that migration is a real part of that, and you look at the way that we have been dealing with many of these issues. I know that many countries have been giving humanitarian aid, but when you look at how we have dealt with migration from the Mediterranean region, what we see is that some countries are being actually overburdened with having migrants, and other countries are closing their doors. And being on the ad hoc committee on migration, I have to tell you that this is a source of real concern for all of us. If we don't share the burden of dealing with this problem, as we heard today, what we're going to continue to see is that there will be instability, there will be security problems in this region, and until the Mediterranean region is secure, until people have the ability to build democratic institutions and safe communities, we're going to continue to see this pattern. We see organized crime making a huge gain in this region because of trafficking. Many of the people who are missing are children. And when we hear that 5,000 people just drowned in 1 year alone, we talk about the human dimension. We've been focusing in areas where we've been bringing in migrants, however, more and more with looking at security and policing and defense issues, and we're not actually talking about the humanitarian component of this. I know that people are giving aid, but when people are moving in such massive amounts, there is a whole sense of the futility of it all. People, human beings like us, are trying to find a safe place to live, are trying to find a safe place. They're fleeing terrorism, many of them, and yet we continue to think that the majority of the migrants are terrorists. And we know that's not true. But they are fleeing because terrorism is driving them away, climate change is driving them away, abject poverty, repressive regimes. We need to fast forward. We cannot continue to look at long-term solutions. We need to do some really immediate solutions to this problem so that we can stem the tide, keep people safe, and in fact, I'm glad to see that we're talking about gender inclusion here, because we've got to stop seeing women as victims. They are victims, and we know that, but we can use them as solutions. If we look at 1325, the United Nations resolution about including women in peace and security and development, we haven't been doing a very good job at that. So I'm not knocking us, because when I say us, we're all in this together. But if we don't start paying more attention to what is going on in the Mediterranean region, we have the autumn meeting, we talk about the Mediterranean region, but I just keep thinking that there is more we can do. There is more that we can do. We have to focus on immediate solutions. We have to take our fair share, and we have to look more closely at the human dimension of this problem, or else we will continue to have insecurity and instability, and we will continue to have global insecurity as a result of what's going on in the Mediterranean. Thank you very much.
Merci, chers collègues. Monsieur Dubs du Royaume-Uni, vous avez la parole, et l'intervenant suivant sera Monsieur Guliev de l'Azerbaïdjan.
Thank you very much, and my thanks to the government of Andorra for their hospitality and for giving us a welcome. Could I just say, as coming from the UK, and I'll say this although it's not part of our agenda, that I'm bitterly disappointed at our attitude to the EU and Brexit, something I'm totally against, and I hope our fellow EU friends will note that many of us in the UK, nearly half, were very much against such a stupid and ill-considered political decision. May I therefore say that in the light of this, for those of us in the UK, we see the OSCE as becoming even more important to us as being one way in which we can express our international friendship and solidarity. And I hope very much indeed that for the future, any EU-wide cooperation will include the UK, and that we'll play our full part in such cooperation, even if, regrettably, we will no longer be formidable members. May I welcome very much the speeches we've had this morning, and could I particularly welcome Mr. Pedro Roque's contribution, which I thought had the essence of the problem and indication of solutions. Before I come on to that, may I just say to our Palestinian colleague that we haven't forgotten the plight of the Palestinians, and many of us are still utterly dismayed at the expansion of settlements and the way in which the Palestinians are treated. And I can assure you that many of us will support you in doing everything we can to move towards a two-state solution which is fair both to the Palestinians and which will give peace to both the Palestinians and the Israelis. Now, turning to the heart of our problem, if I was a young Syrian somewhere in the region, or indeed if I was a young African somewhere in one of the countries, even if I wasn't an asylum seeker, I think I would also either head across the Sahara, or if I were a Syrian, I would take my chances in a boat across the Mediterranean. Because unless there is hope, one takes one's chances, even if the risks of survival are not wonderful. And I think we have to understand that, both for the Syrians who are fleeing as refugees and for those seeking to be economic migrants. But I'll come on to that in a minute. Could I just say at the outset that I think the dilemma facing Italy and indeed Greece is such that we have simply got to share responsibility. We can't leave it to the Greeks and Italians to deal with this. I think it's very unfair. We can make speeches here, and then we go away, and the Italians and the Greeks have to go on dealing with it. I was in Greece only a couple of weeks ago, looking at some of the refugee camps, and we've simply got to share responsibility. And I believe that goes for Europe as a whole. And I would like the United Kingdom government to do more to share responsibility. I can assure you I'm as critical of them as I might be of some of the other governments. Now, can I turn to the specifics? As regards the Mediterranean, I was on a parliamentary committee in the British Parliament looking at Operation Sophia. And clearly there are problems there. It is fairly evident that naval ships are not the best way of dealing with it. And indeed, an operation that was intended to catch traffickers caught some, but on the whole made the life of traffickers easier, because they now simply know that if they get a boat that's not adequate, push it off the Libyan shore, tell them to phone up for help, and the navies will come along. Now, of course we've got to save lives, but the traffickers are having it easy, and we've got to rethink what the Mediterranean operation should do and how it should operate. Other speakers have already talked about the need to work with the Libyan authorities, whoever they are. And unless we have some element of stability in Libya, and unless we can cooperate with the Libyan authorities, I'm afraid some of these difficulties will continue. So I would set a very high importance to dealing with whoever is in charge of any bit of the Libyan coast. As regards the source countries, we've already said that we've got to deal with the source countries in Africa, and we've got to help them to achieve better economic stability and cooperation. Now, we all say that, but I think we've got to do more. Otherwise, there'll still be a movement of people from those parts. And can I also say that from NGOs I've spoken to, that pretty well every woman who's crossed the Sahara has been raped on that dreadful journey. So there are awful things happening, and I think we have to be sensitive. To that. As regards the region, until there's some peace in Syria, I'm afraid there will go on being a movement of people. But could I also say this, that I think we have to give credit to Jordan, Libya, and to the government of Turkey for the large numbers of refugees they've taken and are looking after. And it's all very well saying Europe can't take any more, which I don't agree with, but I think we have to give credit to the three countries in the region that in fact are doing a great deal. And whatever other comments we may have to make about the government of Turkey, I think we should give them credit for having a large number, particularly large number of Syrian refugees in their country. Could I just make two other comments? There's already been reference made to the need to draw a distinction between refugees and asylum seekers. That is to say, people who have a human rights claim to safety and protection from war and persecution under the 1951 Geneva Convention. Of course, there's nothing wrong with being an economic migrant. Many of us, if we lived in some of the poor countries, would be economic migrants ourselves. Nevertheless, in terms of human rights, we've got to give a higher priority. And as long as we do nothing about people who don't have an entitlement to refugee status, I'm afraid more will come, and we've got to find a way of dealing with that. Otherwise, the flow will inevitably continue. And lastly, may I say this, that the people smugglers, the traffickers, are vile individuals who are profiting from people's misery, from people's need to find safety, and who don't care if they endanger their lives or not. And while there are no safe and clear routes to safety, people smugglers will always benefit. So we've got to deal with that as well. But can I just finish by saying this? I think we have to express total solidarity with the people of Italy and Greece and the countries for the difficulties they're in, and we have to express that solidarity in terms of tangible help and support. Thank you.
Merci, chers collègues. Monsieur Guliev, vous avez la parole pour l'Azerbaïdjan et l'intervenant suivant sera Monsieur Varemenos pour la Grèce.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Dear colleagues, in fact, I don't want to make any speech concerning the topics that we are discussing, but I'm interested in two things. First thing is that, unfortunately, as a parliamentarians, as an assembly, we are discussing this issue for about 5 or 6 years, maybe a less or maybe a little long. But unfortunately, as a parliamentarian or as assembly, we failed to do something tangible in terms of getting solution to the crisis in the Middle East, in the North Africa countries, in the problem concerning the migration, refugee flow. But what is the current agenda of the Assembly? I'd like to ask the question to the Parliamentary Assembly of the Mediterranean, which has a strong mandate. It could be united voice for all the Mediterranean countries to come up with certain suggestions and proposals which really could be useful for getting solution and at least for understanding real situation from the ground. This is the one thing. Another thing is that, unfortunately, this question became not only a domestic issue for those countries, as well as this is the international issue that dealt by many global powers without achieving any concrete results. Unfortunately, what we have seen so far that the coalitions organized by different global powers have been divided in their actions, in their views, in their perspectives of resolving this issue. This is another challenging issue for the time being to all the countries. So I think this is a right time for the countries to get united over these issues, at least to show solidarity over these issues, to think about how to resolve this issue as soon as possible, to take into account the current situation of the people who are forcibly displaced from their lands, from their homes. We have seen the picture, how many people are being died, how many people are suffering daily basis. But unfortunately, we as a politicians, as a parliamentarians, are limited our jobs just talking or saying something addressing this issue. This is why I think Mediterranean Parliament has a great role in that issue, as well as we have to unite our efforts with the OSCE Parliamentary Assembly, as we have the same instrument, the same tools, particularly when it comes to the ad hoc committee for migration and the others. Another issue is that Italian chairmanship, as we heard here, something about their future activities, about their future plan to tackle this issue and to put as a priority topic for the chairmanship. Maybe in that regard, Italian chairmanship could put different point or the separate point for that matter, and to bring parliamentarians much more closer to that matter, and of course to utilize their possibility, their mandate, their opportunities, and to see how parliamentarians could play the positive role in that aspect. So two things I think much more important for today's Parliamentary Assembly, and I would appreciate if Mr. Pedro Roque could make some clarification about the clear agenda of the Mediterranean Assembly, 1, 2, 3, 4 items, what you are going to do, and what is your priority, and how you could make some contribution in that matter, and what is the main problem that you need really the intervention or the assistance from other partners, including OSCE. Thank you.
Bien, chers collègues, merci pour cette intervention et les questions très concrètes. Je redonnerai en fin de séance la parole à nos intervenants pour qu'ils puissent vous apporter la réponse. Je vais devoir limiter le temps de parole à 4-5 minutes maximum, car il y a encore beaucoup de de demande. La parole est à Monsieur Varmenos de la Grèce et l'intervenant suivant sera Monsieur De Rouwer pour la Belgique. Chers collègues grecs, vous avez la parole.
Dear colleagues, Mediterranean, the Sea of Civilizations, has in the recent years troubled waters. The transformation of the so-called Arabic Spring into a heavy winter liberated uncontrolled extremistic powers who threatens to destabilize the situation in the whole region. In the same time, they have presented migrant flows converted in many times the Mediterranean in a liquid grave and transported a human drama to the neighboring countries and a heavy burden to them. In this framework, my country, Greece, wants to be, and really is, an island of stabilization in the whole region. Regarding the refugee crisis, as our ad hoc committee for this problem concluded after 1 year and a half work, this crisis is an European one and international. In the Aegean area, after a declining of flows, now we have witnessed an increase of these flows in May, June, July, and August of 2017 compared to the same period of the past year, and this is a cause of concern. In this regard, I want to underline that we need to continue to follow closely the developments in Eastern Mediterranean and emphasize that the full and sustained implementation of the EU-Turkey joint statement of 2016 should remain a priority. Greece has always supported the development of a common and integrated European policy for the management of the EU external policy. In this context, we need to develop an effective European return policy and a European mechanism on returns. We continue to support the full implementation of the resettlement scheme from countries neighbor to Syria. Dear colleagues, above all, we have to deal with the real cause of this international sweeping phenomenon, and don't to leave space to the extremistic xenophobic powers for demagogy and to cheat the people about the real roots of these huge problems. No country is immune to this virus, as the elections in Germany have proved. And finally, dear colleagues, I want to stress that the enemy of extremism is out and maybe inside the walls. Thank you for listening.
Mes chers collègues, je suis obligé de clore la liste des interventions. Il nous reste 11 intervenants et de limiter le temps de parole à 4 minutes, si vous le voulez bien, de façon à ce que nos distingués invités puissent vous répondre. Monsieur De Rouwer pour la Belgique, vous avez la parole, et ensuite ce sera Monsieur Malia pour Malte.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you, the government of Andorra, for the nice, warm reception today. Dear colleagues, we are here to discuss Mediterranean matters and security in the region. So I think we can't be silent today about the case of Catalonia and the independence referendum and the violent actions of the Spanish government against peaceful way of expression, fundamental rights of democracy and self-determination, which should be so important for all of us. The UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Zeid Ra'ad al-Hussein, called for independent and impartial investigation into all acts of violence about the independence referendum and asked the Spanish government to allow human rights experts to visit. At least we expect the High Commissioner on National Minorities of the OSCE, the Honorable Mr. Lamberto Zanier, to do the same and take his responsibility in this matter by starting an impartial investigation into what happened in Catalonia on October the 1st. Let me quote the mayor of Barcelona, Ada Colau. It is unacceptable that the police should be thrown against the populace that has mobilized to exercise its right to vote, that is behaving absolutely peacefully and is defenseless. A populace that has just turned out to queue up so they can vote and assert their rights and freedoms, end of quote. So my wish, let us all be Catalonians today. I thank you very much.
Monsieur Malia pour Malte, vous avez la parole, et ensuite ce sera Monsieur Compagna pour l'Italie.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for giving me the floor. My comments are quite of a different nature than the ones we've been discussing so far. Allow me to briefly share my views with my Mediterranean colleagues on an increasingly important subject, ocean governance and blue growth, one of the priorities of the Maltese presidency of the Council of the European Union. Healthy seas and oceans are essential for humankind, as climate regulators, as a source of global food security, for human health, and as an engine for innovation and economic growth. The OECD estimates that ocean-based industries contribute roughly 1.3 trillion to global gross value added. Oceans are also home to a rich, fragile, and largely unexploited biodiversity, which provides a variety of important ecosystem services. For instance, oceans produce half of the oxygen in the Earth's atmosphere and absorb 25% of CO2 emissions. However, with a world population set to reach 9 to 10 billion by year 2050, pressures on the oceans are expected to increase. Global competition for raw materials, food, and water will become more intense, while illegal fishing, piracy, climate change, and marine pollution are already threatening our oceans' health. In addition, the blue economy heavily depends on the global economy and global rules. Blue growth is the long-term strategy to support sustainable growth in the marine and maritime sectors as a whole. The blue economy represents approximately 5.4 million jobs and generates a gross added value of almost 500 million a year. However, further growth is possible in a number of areas: aquaculture, coastal tourism, marine biotechnology, ocean energy, and seabed mining, to mention a few. We as parliamentarians have an important role to play in supporting the creation of more marine knowledge, legal certainty, and security in the blue economy to allow these sectors to prosper. Dear colleagues, we must make sure that the existing framework for international ocean governance is effective in order to address these shared challenges. We need a cross-sectoral, rules-based international approach. For instance, the Mediterranean Sea is bounded by over 20 countries. However, much of it lies outside national jurisdictions. Cooperation between our states is therefore of the utmost importance. Together, we need to increase efforts by adopting a holistic approach to all marine and maritime issues, by establishing a robust set of mandatory environmental rules to ensure maritime actors use marine resources sustainably, wherever they operate, by developing a regional strategy to boost sustainable and inclusive blue growth. This includes blue economy considerations in external policy as regards natural resources, energy, trade, development, and security, by putting in place regional strategies to address common challenges and opportunities, collaborating closely with one another and stakeholders from civil society and the private sector. And last but not least, by earmarking funds for marine research, improving cooperation and information sharing, and making maritime data publicly accessible. Mr. Chairman, I truly believe that our states not only have common interests, but also common aims, and we can work together to achieve them and get better results than if we acted on our account. There are various sectors where we stand to gain by working together. Additionally, it is our responsibility to work on improving and strengthening the ocean governance framework, on reducing the pressures on our sea, and on increasing our sea's sustainability, including for future generations. Thank you.
Merci, chers collègues. Je vais vous demander de respecter les temps de parole, sinon je serai obligé de contraindre un petit peu plus les derniers intervenants. Le prochain intervenant, donc, c'est M. Compagnia de l'Italie, et ensuite ce sera M. Voridis pour la Grèce.
Grazie, signor Presidente. Credo che abbia fatto bene stamattina il nostro collega algerino ad esprimere parole di simpatia, di amicizia, di gratitudine a quanto Michel Voisin ha fatto nella nostra Assemblea, proprio per richiamare insistentemente la nostra attenzione sul Mediterraneo. Rispetto alla stagione di Voisin, oggi le condizioni dell'area che si affaccia sul Mediterraneo sono diventate molto più drammatiche. Il collega algerino ha parlato di una tragedia, di una grande bara dove si muore. Del resto, devo dire che prima di lui, in termini meno retorici, più asciutti, ma il collega ed amico presidente Pedro Roque aveva dato un dato sulle migrazioni che dimostra tutta la nostra impotenza. La piccola Giordania ha dovuto accogliere più del 20% della propria popolazione, mentre il ping pong intraeuropeo su quote non quote, piccolissime quantità, sembra interminabile. D'altro canto c'è il dramma dei migranti, e al dramma dei migranti direi che corrisponde, un secolo dopo la fine della grande guerra europea, fenomeni di dissoluzione degli stati nazionali allora costituiti. Che cos'è il caso della Siria se non la dissoluzione di uno stato nazionale che nacque allora? E in fondo anche la Libia. La Libia è la dissoluzione di uno Stato nazionale che forse non era mai diventato Stato nazionale, bloccato dalle sue molteplici tribù. E allora da questo punto di vista non possiamo non registrare con amarezza e preoccupazione fenomeni di dissoluzione del valore e del significato dello Stato nazionale. Nei giorni scorsi in Catalogna sono state all'ordine del giorno alcune inutili espressioni di violenza della polizia. D'accordo, ma può l'idea di autodeterminazione, l'idea di autonomia spingersi fino al punto in cui si è spinta in Catalogna e in cui credo mai si era registrato nei rapporti fra stati nazionali e esperienze di autonomie? Penso alla stessa Scozia, penso alla stessa Catalogna, in cui era difficile che cos'altro chiedere. E allora, non trovando che cos'altro chiedere, si attacca allo Stato nazionale. In questo caso uno dei più antichi, lo Stato nazionale spagnolo. Ecco, allora il Mediterraneo ci pone anche questo problema. Se lo Stato nazionale è forma di organizzazione politica inadeguata è superata, ho l'impressione che tante figure del diritto internazionale, compresa la nostra Assemblea parlamentare, compresa la stessa Organizzazione per la cooperazione e la sicurezza, che sono riferimenti di stati nazionali, diventa difficile a pensarsi. Ecco perché sul Mediterraneo si incrociano oggi tragedie di ricchezza, di povertà, di scontro fra popoli che implicano un'autorità politica forse più forte di quella che siamo stati in grado di mobilitare nella stagione di Michel Voisin, cui va il mio pensiero e il mio augurio affettuosissimo. Grazie.
Merci beaucoup, chers collègues. La parole est maintenant à Monsieur Voridis pour la Grèce et l'intervenante suivante sera Madame Nagdalian pour l'Arménie. Chers collègues grecs, vous avez la parole.
Thank you, Chair. And let me start by also thanking our Andorran hosts for having us here and providing excellent hospitality. And also let me give our condolences to our USA delegates here for the tragic event that happened in Texas, which in Las Vegas, sorry, which caused the loss of life of 50 people, 50 innocent people, and the injury of another 300 or 400. Which brings me now to a topic that actually was discussed in the intervention we heard from our distinguished guest here. I don't know if Las Vegas incident was actually a terrorist attack. We still don't know. But indeed, in Barcelona, we did have a horrible terrorist attack, and the incidents of terrorism all around our countries are increasing. And it is quite positive that I've heard actually from all delegates that they do prioritize confronting terrorism as, a major political goal. Responding to that, our Parliamentary Assembly has created at Minsk an ad hoc committee for addressing the problem, the challenge of terrorism, and coming with some proposals on how to deal with that and doing our share as parliamentarians. Now, the first thing I think we should agree on is that we should put high on our agendas the issue, the challenge, the threat of terrorism. This is something we should agree on. And of course, this is, just a speech, but if we are serious about that, then this would probably mean that we will have to work more for the states to allocate resources in combating terrorism and also to come up with very practical policies. Because the second thing that I'd like to raise, terrorism is actually about freedom. It jeopardizes the freedom of our societies, but it's also about human suffering and pain, as we see innocent people losing children, families, without any real serious reason. This kind of unjustified acts against innocent people, youth that are in clubs having fun, people walking the streets, this blind terrorism, this asymmetrical threat really poses a danger, and it concerns life. Lives that citizens that then ask from politicians, to address the issue efficiently. And this brings me to the second point, that this is an issue that it should be addressed now. We don't have the time, to resolve all problems in the world, like, I don't know, human poverty or migration flows, but we have to come up with very practical solutions as legislators, but also the states addressing this issue. And being now very practical, I think that another issue that we should decide now and we should promote is, of course, we have now to address the issue of criminal organizations. And we have to accept that terrorism are now internationally working, they are having international networks, and the answer to terrorism cannot be national. If we are sticking to national legislation or to national security agencies, we will not sufficiently address the issue, which practically that means two things: international cooperation, and we should be open to that. And the second means that practically, again, that information must be shared. Legislations had to be harmonized, and we have to be very decisive in addressing all this. I consider very positive that most of the countries, especially our Mediterranean partners, have addressed the issue and expressed the will that we work closer and try to come up with very practical solutions on a very difficult situation. So we are looking forward to that work with the Parliamentary Assembly for the Mediterranean, with the other bodies, plus our Mediterranean partners. This should be an ongoing process, and we also welcome the Morocco initiative for organizing a forum of discussion for dealing with terrorism and this major issue. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Merci, chers collègues. La parole est maintenant à Madame Nagdazian pour l'Arménie et ce sera ensuite à Monsieur Hadjiani pour Chypre.
Thank you, Chair. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers of this event for hospitality and for excellent job, as well as all our colleagues for interesting speeches. Especially, I want to welcome the sounded priority of the Italian presidency on the return to the true spirit of the Helsinki, because I think we need to remember this. Situation in the Mediterranean region remains alarming, and it continues to affect the security of the OSCE area. In the light of the complex situation of refugee crisis in the Mediterranean countries, we want to address the attacks of terrorist groups targeting ethnic and religious minorities in Syria and Iraq, and massive flow of refugees from those countries. Armenia is a committed advocate of protection of ethnic and religious minorities in the Middle East. Delegation of Armenia was the first in the OSCE, which back in 2014 initiated discussions in this regard in the context of cross-border attacks of terrorist groups against the Armenian populated town of Kesab in Syria. On the same year, in its declaration, the Parliamentary Assembly called the OSCE member states to prevent the use of their territories by terrorist and fundamentalist groups for cross-border attacks against civilian population. This important message was supplemented by the acknowledgement of the important role that parliamentarians play to prevent genocide by condemning past genocides and raising their voices against ongoing massive human rights violations. We deem important for the Parliamentary Assembly to continue to raise its voice and condemn persecutions of Christians and members of other religions in Syria and Iraq. The increasing global displacement challenges, ongoing conflicts in Syria and Iraq significantly affect Armenia. As a host country, Armenia provides the refugees access to civil, economic, social, and cultural rights and offers them the opportunity to facilitate naturalization. More than 20,000 persons displaced due to conflict in Syria have sought protection in Armenia, which makes it the third European country with the biggest number of refugees from Syria per capita. The new wave of displacement adds to existing challenges faced by Armenia, already hosting hundreds of thousands of refugees from Azerbaijan. For a rather small country, this is a huge burden. But despite economic hardships, Armenia has been successful in the integration. There are no refugee camps in Armenia, not because we didn't have refugees or the number of refugees was small, vice versa. It was a huge number as a result of the violation of the self-determination rights of the Nagorno-Karabakh people by the Azerbaijani government. Despite its scanty budget, Armenia have taken the heavy financial burden of refugee integration, unlike our rich neighbor, which keeps the poor people in the refugee camps for decades, using them as a propaganda tool. The refugee crisis has created tension and undermined Europe's fundamental values, but Armenia has proven to be able to offer solutions to the multiple implications of the refugee challenges. The government is offering Syrian refugees a simplified acquisition of citizenship and accelerated asylum procedures. We are taking much effort for implementing programs of integration with focus on children, women, elderly, and people with special needs. Over 4,000 refugees have benefited from free health care. Over 5,000 young refugees have attended Armenian public educational institutions. Armenia remains strongly committed to the European values of solidarity, humanity, and dignity, especially during the time of refugee crisis. Thanks.
Merci, Madame. La parole est maintenant à Monsieur Hadjiani pour Chypre et ce sera ensuite Monsieur Maltais pour le Canada.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Historically, the Mediterranean region or the sea is a meeting point between cultures. It is a sea that connects the three continents. It is a sea that is in the center of the earth. It is a point with a huge geostrategical, geopolitical, and geoeconomic significance. Finally, it is a sea that suffers by constant wars. This is why the OSCE should give special attention. It should act proactively and deal with all the conflicts in this region. So far, it has not done so. The actions he has done so far have not been enough or even effective. The OSCE, unfortunately, always follows developments in these areas. With the conflicts of the region, we have to deal much more strongly. We must first study each conflict separately. Another is the Middle East region, and another is the Mediterranean as a generality. The Middle East region is a crisis that, whenever it breaks out, affects the international freedom, the international security. We should engage in mediation and develop dialogues between the parties involved. It is inconceivable that this so flammable area will only concern us within this forum. We need more special representatives. We need contacts with neighbors. We need mediation. It's a huge volume of work. Another major conflict in the Mediterranean is the Cyprus problem. For 43 years, it has been unfortunately unresolved and has been a source of firepower at any time. Unfortunately, the recent talks have not produced a result, and this is due to Turkey, which holds illegal troops on the island and illegal settlement of 40% of the island. I call on everyone to contribute in a way to create a new climate of dialogue, trust among the countries involved. The proposal that I presented today is to give back the city of Famagusta to its legitimate inhabitants under a special UN regime. For 43 years, the city has been a ghost town and is not inhabited by anyone. It is controlled only by the military troops. This action on the part of Turkey would have the effect of breaking distrust and assisting in credibility. Trust is the main pillar of finding a solution for the Cyprus conflict. Give back the ghost city of Famagusta. This is needed as trust-building measures. for the final solution of the Cyprus conflict. This action will be the answer against the fear. This action will win the fear. I appeal to my Turkish colleagues to respond to this proposal and to engage the MPs in lifting the hostage of a city, restoring the human rights that have been meaningless for over 43 years, as highlighted in UN Resolution 550 and 589. Thank you very much.
Merci, chers collègues. La parole est maintenant à Monsieur Maltais pour le Canada et ce sera ensuite Monsieur Rizak pour la Fédération de Russie. Chers collègues canadiens, vous avez la parole.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Tout d'abord, permettez-moi d'offrir nos sincères condoléances au peuple américain, comme l'a fait un intervenant avant moi. C'est vraiment quelque chose de dramatique. Et il n'y a pas personne dans aucun pays qui mérite. Pour revenir aux problèmes qui nous concernent, les pays de la Méditerranée, bien sûr, le Canada soutient ces pays. Ce n'est pas seulement à eux de recevoir la facture. Le problème d'immigration n'est plus de la Méditerranée, il est de toute l'Europe et maintenant atteint l'Amérique. Pourtant, à Istanbul, au Monténégro, beaucoup de pays, comme le Canada, avaient averti les populations que la Turquie ne pouvait supporter, elle, à ce moment-là, seulement elle, le flot de migrants. Malheureusement, les discussions n'ont mené à aucune conclusion positive. Comme l'a souligné mon collègue de l'Azerbaïdjan, les Nations unies, le Parlement européen, le Conseil d'Europe, l'OSCE, beaucoup d'organismes discutent de la situation des migrants en Europe. À qui profite le crime, comme disait un certain détective célèbre, tant et aussi longtemps qu'on ne s'attaquera pas au problème, à la source du problème, aucune solution valable ne sera adoptée. Le monde entier doit apprendre de son histoire. Il y a 200 ans, l'ensemble des pays qui n'avaient pas d'organisation ni de traités internationaux ont compris que l'esclavagisme n'avait plus sa place. Aujourd'hui, 200 ans plus tard, nous ne faisons que discuter. Les êtres humains qui sont pris dans ces conflits attendent beaucoup des organismes, que ce soit la nôtre, les Nations unies ou d'autres. Que reçoivent-ils en retour? De l'incertitude et aucun espoir pour le futur. L'OSCE devrait avoir pour mission au cours de la prochaine année, tout au moins, si on ne règle pas le problème à la source, de donner de l'espoir à ces êtres humains. Vous savez, Monsieur le Président, les cloches ne sonnent pas seulement pour appeler à la prière, ils sonnent aussi pour réveiller des gens. Il est grand temps que les cloches de l'OSCE sonnent et qu'on a un pouvoir vers les parlements qui composent l'OSCE de régler le problème à la source. Et sur ce, je vous dis merci.
Merci, chers collègues. La parole est maintenant Monsieur Rizak pour la Fédération de Russie et ce sera ensuite Monsieur Divina pour l'Italie. Chers collègues russes, vous avez la parole.
Уважаемый председатель, уважаемые участники совещания, очень приятно, что дух Хельсинки опять витает в этом зале, и мы воздаем должное усилиям и инициативе социалистических стран Восточной Европы, что такой акт и такое совещание было проведено и завершилось подготовкой акта, который на долгие годы определял мир и спокойствие в Европе. Вот и сегодня Мы, к сожалению, говорим о многих проблемах, потому что мы отошли от многих этих договоренностей, но мы умалчиваем о коренных причинах этих проблем. А ведь это является следствием безответственного вмешательства во внутренние дела суверенных государств, как Ближнего Востока, так и Северной Африки, в результате чего дестабилизировалась и насильственная смена неугодных режимов. Это привело к коллапсу государственности, гуманитарным катастрофам, гражданским войнам и подъему терроризма, сделав проживание людей в этих регионах совершенно невыносимым. Еще недавно мы с удивлением и со страхом наблюдали, как черное пятно ИГИЛ распространялось на карте мира. И вот сейчас это пятно уничтожено практически. Причем весомый вклад в уничтожение ИГИЛ внесла именно Россия вместе со здоровыми силами и при поддержке законного правительства Сирии. Я еще раз подчеркиваю, на основании международных актов и договоренностей и по просьбе сирийского правительства не было нарушено ни один пункт. И мы опять стыдливо умалчиваем о тех, кто нанес и добился коренного перелома с ИГИЛ. Не звучит ни слова об этом. Это вторая причина. Мы сейчас с ужасом констатируем и с тревогой, что выборы нам не нравятся, которые проходят в Европе. А это опять следствие того, что результат глобализации и безответственный ориентир оттолкнули значительную часть от своих правительств. Это говорит о том, что мы опять лукавим. Политика тогда овладевает умами людей, когда она действительно носит искренний характер и когда нет двойных стандартов. Нам, парламентариям, об этом никогда нельзя забывать. Я еще раз говорю, что мы всецело поддерживаем авторитет международных институтов, и надо добиваться, чтобы ОБСЕ и другие международные авторитеты опять-таки добились подлинного признания всех народов. Тогда мы сможем переломить и вместе сумеем отстоять и добиться создания системы коллективной безопасности в мире. Благодарю за внимание.
Merci, chers collègues. La parole est à M. Divina pour l'Italie et ce sera ensuite M. Karayel pour la Turchie. Chers collègues italiens, c'est à vous.
Grazie Presidente. Chi è arrivato qua in questi giorni non ha potuto che fare un attraversamento della Catalogna. Ringrazio il collega belga che ha voluto fare un accenno e se mi permette faccio anch'io due piccole parole per la reazione che noi abbiamo assistito. La reazione del governo spagnolo alla richiesta di un referendum da parte del popolo di Catalogna. Noi abbiamo in queste sedi più volte condannato queste reazioni non condivisibili. L'ultima, la reazione della Turchia di Erdogan al dopo colpo di Stato. A una domanda di democrazia, secondo noi, non si può mai rispondere se non con il dialogo e non si può mai rispondere con la violenza, usando la violenza come strumento politico. Esprimo a nome mio, della delegazione italiana, il biasimo per quello che è successo, la distanza da questi metodi, ma vorremmo che, ancorché in questa sede non è prevista alcuna presentazione e risoluzione dei documenti, ma che almeno in modo informale si prendano le distanze con un documento libero che magari potremmo fare noi parlamentari da questi metodi usati dal governo spagnolo. Veniamo alle nostre questioni. Il Mediterraneo, chi ci vive, l'Italia per 3/4 di paese è in mezzo al Mediterraneo, aveva capito per tempo quello che sarebbe successo. In due grandi meeting dell'OSCE nel 2009 e nel 2010 svolti a Oslo e a Vilnius avevamo inserito delle particolarità. Gli hotspot devono essere fatti prima delle partenze. Evitiamo partenze tragiche, evitiamo morti, evitiamo che poi i paesi non siano più in grado di accogliere questi grandi flussi. Bene, noi li abbiamo votati, ma i governi poi non hanno dato alcun seguito. Insomma, siamo nel 2017 e ci troviamo in queste situazioni. L'Europa ha fatto una serie di missioni, l'ultima, che sembrava orientata a fermare il traffico di esseri umani, Sofia, Triton, come l'hanno chiamata. Però è sembrata poco incisiva anche questa, nel senso che si è continuata con l'opera di rescue, recupero e salvataggio, e poi portando tutti questi recuperati nei porti italiani. Diciamo che i porti più sicuri e più vicini erano la Tunisia, che però non li accetta, o Malta, che addirittura li respinge, la Francia, che ha detto che non aprirà mai i porti alle ONG che porteranno rifugiati su questi territori. Diciamocelo, l'Italia è stata abbandonata, l'Italia è rimasta sola nell'affrontare questo grande traffico, flusso dal Nord Africa. Noi quest'anno siamo riusciti a fare un accordo diretto con il governo libico, o meglio, con le varie componenti dei governi libici. Abbiamo realizzato degli ospedali in cambio, misurato ospedali militari. Abbiamo donato 2 motovedette alla Guardia Costiera libica, gli stiamo addestrando per che cosa? Per sconfiggere quello che è un grande sistema di criminalità che sfrutta esseri umani per scopi, chiaramente, per scopi illegali. Bene, l'ha ricordato il collega Guliev dell'Azerbaigian. In questi momenti non bastano più le parole, buone parole, parole di solidarietà. Qui bisogna, e vado a chiudere Presidente, bisogna che tutti gli Stati facciano di più, bisogna che tutti i colleghi si impegnino su questo fronte, ma operare, ho finito Presidente, fattivamente. Non ci bastano più, scusatemi, le dichiarazioni di solidarietà. Grazie.
Merci, chers collègues. La parole est donc maintenant à Monsieur Karayel pour la Turquie et ensuite ce sera Madame Sederfeld pour la Suède. Chers collègues turcs, c'est à vous.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like, first of all, to thank Andorra for the excellent hospitality extended to us and wonderful organization of this meeting. I would like to join our colleagues in extending condolences to the US delegation in wake of the tragic event in Las Vegas. Terrorism has become more widespread, threatening any part of the world, claiming sometimes hundreds of lives at one coordinated attack. Turkey has been fighting against terrorism for decades and calls for the stronger international cooperation. While we should strengthen fight against terrorism, we were asked to loosen our terrorism legislation by the EU for the visa liberalization, which is hard to understand. There has been much positive reference to the Turkey's role in meeting the migration crisis. Thank you for that. Since centuries, Turkey has exerted every effort to the extent helping hand to the people in need. Let me just highlight that we will continue to do so. Let me also emphasize the importance of meaningful burden and responsibility sharing in this process, not only for financial assistance, but also resettlement and addressing the root causes of the forced migration. In reply to our Greek Cypriot colleagues, at Crans-Montana, both Turkey and Turkish Cypriots side engaged constructively and with goodwill. Our aim was to reach a just and sustainable settlement in Cyprus issue. Unfortunately, the Greek Cypriots persisted in their unconstructive attitude despite their settlement. They refused to acknowledge the Turkish Cypriots' political equality. That was why, despite all our efforts, this conference on Cyprus did not succeed. The comprehensive settlement negotiations, which began in 2008, are now over. I would also like to refer to the UN Comprehensive Settlement Plan, the Annan Plan. If it was not rejected by the Greek Cypriots in 2004, we were possibly not even talking about this a Cyprus problem today. Also, the last note that Greek Cypriot administration is continuing its unilateral hydrocarbon related activities in the Eastern Mediterranean. Such activities disregard the inalienable rights on natural resources of the Turkish Cypriots, the co-owners of the island. Turkey will certainly not hesitate to protect its rights and interests in our continental shelf. We will also continue our support to the Turkish Cypriot side. Thank you.
Bien, merci, chers collègues. La parole est à Madame Sederfeld pour la Suède et ce sera ensuite à Monsieur Bekarian pour l'Arménie. Chers collègues suédoises, c'est à vous.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And thanks also to Andorra for their hospitality to host our autumn meeting. Dear colleagues, I will first start to say a few words about the migration debate that we have had here today. I am very pleased that I have heard the word human being mentioned several times, because that's what it's about. And I must underline that we shouldn't see each other as enemies in this aspect, because when we talk about migration, it's a worldwide phenomenon. It's about human beings, and we can't solve it neither in the Mediterranean region or in the northern part of Europe or in any other particular part of the world. It's a worldwide issue. It's about peace. It's about trust. It's about hope for the future. And here, we as parliamentarians have a very important job to do. But not only we have to cooperate with the rest of the society, with NGOs, with individuals, with government. There is a need for this. And I do also hope that we don't look up on us each other as enemies, because when we start to do that, then it's really a danger. I do also want to say, when it comes to refugees, whatever the reason is, we must see what can we do. Could we accept them in our country or can't we? We need to provide job, because what we have learned in Sweden, what we have learned in the rest of the world is when people are excluded, when they can't make any benefit for the society or for themselves or for their family, it makes a lot of mistrust. And to get a job, there is a need for education. I think this is one important step where we all can contribute. And of course, as I said before, peace. I do also want to say a few words about women. Hedy Fry raised the issue, and I think it's so important. And I must say, when I was a young student in the 80s, I heard a lot of at the conference, people saying we need to include women. And still, 2017, are we sitting and saying we need to include women? What are we waiting for? Include women. It's not about competence. It's not about that women can't contribute. If we want to make better society, a society that includes everyone, we need to include women. Do it now. Thanks.
Merci, Madame. La parole est désormais à Monsieur Berkarian pour l'Arménie et ce sera ensuite Monsieur Chiquillo pour l'Espagne. Chers collègues arméniens, c'est à vous.
Спасибо, господин председатель. Уважаемые коллеги, в первую очередь слова благодарности принимающей стороне, естественно. Слова соболезнования нашим американским коллегам, о чем уже говорилось по трагедии в Лас-Вегасе. На мой взгляд, основная цель нашего форума в том, чтобы еще раз зафиксировать основные вызовы, которые стоят в контексте средиземноморского партнерства, и одновременно попробовать понять возможности и сообща идти путь к некому ослаблению всех этих возможных вызовов, минимизации этих вызовов и плану действий по или дорожной карте, экшн-плану, для того, чтобы возможности были превратены в жизнь насколько можно продуктивно. Относительно вызовов, как бы ситуация, можно сказать, так иначе понятна. Это, конечно же, терроризм, это радикализация, вопросы миграции, вопросы беженцев, конфликты, неустойчивость. В зоне вот именно нашей парадигмы или нашего контекста, опять-таки, это арабо-израильский конфликт, это Сирия, это Ирак. Вопросы напряженности, которые недавно, буквально на днях возникают относительно референдумов в Каталонии и то, что было относительно референдума в иракском Курдистане. Есть что-то, которое вот именно не на поверхности, а идет своими корнями вглубь, и на что надо обращать внимание. На мой взгляд, и это как и предложение в том числе будет звучать, нам надо попробовать опять-таки вернуться к известным двум вопросам. Первое. Верховенство права или верховенство закона. Потому что то, что мы сейчас наблюдаем, и то, что было вчера в Каталонии, наверное, вот в этом ракурсе стоит и рассматривать в том числе. Но это не единственный пример. Второе. Преобладают ценности или интересы. Если я хочу присоединиться к словам, которые были сказаны со стороны коллег Соединенного Королевства, Италии, Кипра, то, что Грецию, Италию нельзя оставлять одними в гуще всех этих проблем относительно мигрантов. Опять-таки, мы прекрасно знаем, что есть страны, которые всеми правдами и неправдами пробовали никак не пустить у себя беженцев, никак не иметь свои какие-то квоты или имеющиеся квоты, пробовали каким-то образом оспаривать. И опять этот вопрос встает. Верховенство, преобладают ценности или интересы. Относительно, у нас очень интересный форум получился, и в ракурсе того, что в 2018 году председательство уже итальянское, и в приоритетах этого председательства есть укрепление партнерства со странами южного побережья Средиземного моря. И это интересно еще в контексте того, что Италия в этом году председатель контактной группы ОБСЕ по Средиземноморью. Это может быть очень интересным плавным переходом к приоритетам, который настоящий форум тоже будет иметь и поставлять как приоритеты по экшн-плану. И буквально две мысли я этим закончу. Я считаю, что было очень правильно и было очень объективно и понятно, что австрийское председательство в приоритетах поставило вопрос доверия. Доверие, я не буду сейчас его каким-то образом дифференцировать на все институции, о которых шла речь. Но если мы хотим продуктивной работы, нам нужно это доверие каким-то образом поднять. И в этом отношении опять как предложение, да? Нам нужно иметь институциональную работу или, скажем так, углублять институциональную работу со средствами массовой информации, с неправительственным сектором и обязательно с молодежью. И буквально последнее предложение. Можно было бы, наверное, совершенно отдельный доклад иметь или выступление относительно того, как Турция столетиями помогает людям и помогает в регионе миру и устойчивости. Это в том случае, когда буквально 3 года назад было столетие геноцида армян в Османской империи. Спасибо, пожалуйста.
Bien, merci pour votre intervention. La parole est à Monsieur Chiquillo pour l'Espagne et ensuite ce sera pour Monsieur Mirchlizi pour l'Azerbaïdjan. Ce sera la dernière intervention.
Gracias, presidente de la mesa. Queridos colegas, como miembro de la Comisión Ad hoc de Migraciones, tenía preparada una intervención sobre un tema, como muy bien ha dicho la colega sueca, que nos preocupa, un problema global, el tema de las migraciones. Máxime cuando en 2018 va a haber 2 grandes cumbres en Naciones Unidas al respecto. Pero me van a permitir que, como miembro de la delegación española, diga algo de mi país, España. Con todos los respetos y consideración que me merecen todos los miembros, colegas de esta Asamblea Parlamentaria, quiero decir en voz clara y alta que democracia es cumplir la ley, es cumplir el ordenamiento jurídico, la Constitución, las normas, los tratados, y España es un país democrático y no se puede poner en tela de juicio ese compromiso con los derechos fundamentales, los derechos humanos y la democracia de nuestro país. Repito, con todos los respetos, es muy fácil hablar desde la lejanía y, sobre todo, una temeridad desde el desconocimiento, máxime en un tema tan sensible. España salió de 40 años de dictadura en el año 75 y en el año 1978 se aprobó la Constitución vigente a día de hoy, aprobada por casi el 89% de la población y mayoritariamente apoyada y refrendada por un territorio de España como es Cataluña. El sistema político español, homologable y estándar de todas las democracias occidentales, y no se puede poner en tela de juicio en esta Asamblea Parlamentaria, se basa en la democracia, la separación de poderes y el imperio de la ley. Y repito, democracia es cumplir y hacer cumplir las leyes. España, como todos los países que conforman el espacio OSCE, la Unión Europea y la comunidad internacional, fruto de esa separación de poderes, tiene un poder legislativo, otro judicial y otro ejecutivo. Y dentro de sus funciones, en España, para velar por el respeto a la Constitución, la norma básica española, como en otros tantos países, hay una Corte Constitucional, el Tribunal Constitucional. Y, lógicamente, cuando un territorio o una entidad de lo que es la soberanía española adopta decisiones que vulneran el texto constitucional, en este caso los artículos 1 y 2 de la Constitución, el Tribunal Constitucional, máximo órgano del Poder Judicial, toma unas decisiones y declara ilegales las decisiones del Parlamento de Cataluña que se adoptaron vulnerando la Constitución, el ordenamiento jurídico y los tratados más básicos de convivencia democrática. Y ese Poder Judicial que dicta una sentencia que declara ilegal un referéndum como el que se celebró el pasado domingo, da la orden a las fuerzas de seguridad, a la policía, para que haga cumplir la ley y haga cumplir esa sentencia clara, firme y rotunda, como así reconoció también la Comisión de Venecia, que decía que el referéndum era ilegal, inconstitucional y vulneraba el ordenamiento jurídico español, y tomó unas decisiones el pasado domingo. Claro que con 1 millón de personas en la calle hay altercados, desgraciadamente. Ha habido 700 heridos, la mayoría de ellos leves. A día de hoy, a estas horas, solo 3 personas están ingresadas de lo que algunos han denominado brutalidad, cuanto menos que se tenga conocimiento. Pero no se ha dicho nada de los 431 policías heridos en esos altercados. Señores colegas, concluyo muy rápidamente. Imaginen ustedes en los países OSCE, con una Constitución y su respectivo Tribunal Constitucional, que una parte de esos países, un rincón de uno de esos países, unilateralmente toma unas decisiones y el Tribunal Constitucional de ese país dice que esa decisión es ilegal y atenta al derecho interno de España y altera el normal funcionamiento y el respeto a la Constitución. Repito, sin respetar la ley no hay democracia. Por lo tanto, imaginen el caos que podría ocurrir si ahora en diversos puntos de la Unión Europea o del territorio OSCE empiezan a surgir movimientos regionales que plantean desafiar la Constitución de cada uno de sus países y ponen a la Unión Europea y al territorio OSCE patas arriba. Responsabilidad, seriedad y rigor, que puede estar en juego el futuro de la Unión Europea. Muchas gracias.
Merci, chers collègues. Et je donne la parole donc au représentant de l'Azerbaïdjan pour 1 minute, s'il vous plaît.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. We think that the problem of refugee and the problem of the conflict is a very serious challenges at the OSCE regions. But if we sincerely want to solve these problems, then we have to be responsible, and we have to feel the responsibility to solve the problems. So I want just to say that the responsibility of the countries, sometimes if there is no responsibility, it causing the big problems, especially creating the refugees. If we talk about the refugees in Azerbaijan, I just want to remind that we have the 1 million refugees in Azerbaijan. My colleague from Armenia, she says that there is 100,000 something refugees in Armenia also. But we think about it that if the country, especially like Armenia, should be responsible 30 years ago, now we couldn't speak about the refugees in Azerbaijan and Armenia. So the responsibility is the number one. We think about it that we have to be responsible. I agree with my Canadian colleagues that we have to combat with the reasons. We have to stop the occupations. We have to respect the territorial integrity of each other. And the second is that I think that we shouldn't manipulate the refugees from the different countries. My colleague said that they have 20,000 refugees from the Syria, but nobody didn't ask about it that why they shouldn't place the refugees in Armenia. So to place them in the Nagorno-Karabakh region of Azerbaijan, it means that the countries, even the government should feel the responsibility to not manipulate with the fear of the refugees. Thank you very much.
Merci pour cette intervention. Donc voilà, nous sommes à la fin des interventions de l'ensemble des représentants qui ont souhaité prendre la parole. Et je vais donner pour 3 minutes maximum la parole à nos intervenants. Et c'est M. Frattini qui va prendre la parole en premier.
Grazie Presidente. Ho ascoltato con molto interesse il dibattito e dimostra, a mio avviso, ancora di più quanto questa Assemblea parlamentare sia viva e esprima delle visioni molto stimolanti sui tanti temi che toccano da vicino l'area del Mediterraneo, ma anche l'area dell'OSCE in un senso più ampio. Io voglio rispondere soltanto in brevissima maniera a un paio di riferimenti che sono stati fatti all'Italia e alla Presidenza italiana. Intanto vorrei ringraziare in modo particolare quei delegati e una menzione specifica per l'onorevole rappresentante del Regno Unito che hanno ringraziato e sottolineato come l'Italia si faccia carico di un grande peso in termini di accoglienza migratoria. Questo non è sempre facile, ma come è stato ricordato lo si fa in omaggio a quello spirito di accoglienza e quella tradizione di apertura che è proprio non solo dell'Italia, ma credo di tutti i popoli che si affacciano sul Mediterraneo, e la nostra storia comune lo dimostra. Vorrei poi fare invece un riferimento specifico a quanto detto da un rappresentante della delegazione dell'Azerbaigian questa mattina sulla necessità di riavvicinare il più possibile la dimensione parlamentare a quella intergovernativa. Credo che sia molto importante e qui sono su un terreno molto favorevole perché intorno a me c'erano questa mattina il segretario generale dell'Assemblea parlamentare e il dottor Bonabello, che è il liaison officer basato a Vienna dell'Assemblea parlamentare. Quindi è con loro, con queste persone e attraverso di loro con tutti voi, che la Presidenza italiana intende rafforzare la collaborazione tra la dimensione appunto rappresentata dai governi e quella espressa dalle assemblee parlamentari nazionali attraverso questa riunione. Sottolineo anche il fatto che il rappresentante speciale, signor Alisar, ci ha confermato la sua presenza a Palermo il 24 e 25 ottobre. E in quell'occasione lui rappresenterà questa esigenza e queste, se mi può permettere di parlare in sua vece, ma credo che sia molto importante il fatto che la dimensione parlamentare e la dimensione governativa, e non dimentichiamo quella non governativa, quindi anche la società civile, sono tutti aspetti che contribuiscono a rafforzare il ruolo dell'OSCE in tutti e 57 Stati, più anche nei Paesi partner. Quindi noi siamo assolutamente pronti a maggiori iniziative in questo senso e siamo lieti di accogliere ogni proposta che l'Assemblea parlamentare ci vorrà fare.
Merci pour votre écoute. Je donne la parole à M. Roch maintenant, s'il veut bien.
Merci. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a few remarks and a few answers, a few replies to the questions that have been made. A remark about the classical difference between migrants and refugees. Well, at the end of the day, the migrants, especially the migrants that came from Africa, are refugees from starvation. But nevertheless, we must have some kind of control on those flows in order to don't have the problems inside Europe or inside other countries where they go. Because if there is no direct link between migrants and terrorism, and that is a fact, but there is a direct link. We found that between lack of social integration and terrorism. Now a few replies from the questions that have been made, especially by the representative of Azerbaijan. In PAM we have an holistic approach to the problems. We have three standing committees, one of politics, another one of human rights and dialogue of civilizations, and a third one of economic and social issues. So we try to have this kind of holistic approach regarding the issues and the problems and the Mediterranean. Despite the fact that we are doing parliamentary diplomacy, which means that we are not governments, this approach has some advantages and some other problems. Well, the problem is that we are governments. We don't have the power that the governments have to make things happen. The advantage that we represent the entire sensibilities of our citizens, and we have a great facility to establish dialogue, even between countries that don't have direct diplomatic relationships, or even there are some kind of enemies on the ground. Let me say, for instance, we are very committed to the question of Israel and Palestine. Israel and Palestine are full members of our organization. They are both vice presidents of our organization. And also, we have the luck to have moderate people inside both delegations, the delegation of the Palestinian Council and the delegation of Knesset. Let me also say that we salute this kind of dialogue, the recent dialogue between Fatah and Hamas, hoping that could bring Hamas to the moderate side of the question in order to achieve what we are all committed, the two-state solutions and the main resolutions of the UN Security Council. So we are looking forward to cooperate not only with the OSCE, but also with other organizations regarding the Mediterranean, like the Union for Mediterranean, even the IPU, even a little outside the Mediterranean area, like the CISPA, but in order to tackle the problems of the counterterrorism, we need to establish a dialogue not only with the Russian Federation, but also with the countries of the Central Asia. It is important, and also with the Pan-African Parliament, because exactly of this issue of migration, because we need common answers, not only from the European side or the North African, Middle East side, but also from the African countries, especially those sub-Saharan and of the Sahel belt. Thank you very much.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Et je donne la parole maintenant à Monsieur Gomez, s'il veut bien nous dire quelques mots sur les questions posées.
Thank you very much. From what we heard here today, I think it's clear that we all share the same feeling that we must focus on the root causes of underdevelopment and insecurity in the Mediterranean region. Many of you have mentioned concrete areas that we at the Union for the Mediterranean we also value and in which we are developing a number of concrete actions and we are supporting a number of concrete projects. Blue economy was mentioned, the green economy, water, energy, environment, climate change. These are areas that are very important for us and in which we are developing a number of concrete projects. We are also supporting the efforts of the United Nations through the MedCop and the COP22 and now COP23. Education was mentioned, employability was mentioned, support to small and medium enterprises and the possibility that we have to support our youth, the youth in the Mediterranean in their efforts to create an area of growth and stability in the Mediterranean region. But also on women equality. As I mentioned in my previous intervention, we are organizing a ministerial in the Cairo next November that will push forward the agenda of the Paris 2013 ministerial meeting and take into account the suggestions that arose from the regional dialogue on women empowerment that we started in 2015. And we are already working on the next high-level conference on women, and the fourth high-level conference that the UFM will be organizing on this thematic, that will be held in Lisbon in 2018, that will do the follow-up on the implementation of the ministerial. These are different sectors in which the governments that are represented at the UFM level are agreeing on cooperation development initiatives and actions. And of course that the legislative branch within the different national parliaments play a huge role in the promotion of these policies. Thank you.
Bien, écoutez, merci à tous les trois pour votre participation et ces mots de conclusion. Je voudrais vous remercier toutes et tous pour votre attention, votre participation ce matin à ce forum méditerranéen. Vous souhaitez une excellente continuation pour ce travail en Andorre et remercier à nouveau pour la qualité de leur accueil nos hôtes andorrans. Voilà, merci à toutes et à tous.